Anthony Davis started 42 games for the Lakers. Hachimura started 50 games for the Lakers. He's played 32 minutes, and he's averaging 13, 5, and 1. And if like you're betting on that line as a Lakers fan, that's rough.
Yeah, no, and like I said, he was picking up before Anthony Davis left. No, I'm saying, but you got to think that's a great addition, brother. When you got LeBron, Luca, Austin Reeves being your main three. So even if you got, I mean, like I say, two dudes can be off, and long as one dude's at least on, and then you got a Roy Hachimura who can at least if you can give us 10 to 13 points, and those other dudes they're gonna struggle, but they still gonna be double digit scorers. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
always still have a chance, and then
I think the big thing with Hachimura though is that you need to replace the rebound numbers that Anthony Davis was getting, and he was
And yeah,
averaging
and
12.
yeah, you're right. You're right there. See, that was what I was wondering about. You can't have LeBron averaging 13 rebounds now since 12 rebounds now since what's name gone. Too old to withstand that during the whole playoffs. Now, of course, he might can do it, but he's just too old. Like I got to be realistic. He's old. He's too old. But also he's able to do that too now because he don't have to be the more ball dominant guy. Luca is, and he
I
letting
mean, between
Luca and Reeves been more ball controlling since that the team has became the team they are now. So it's like, you get that energy elsewhere. He's not even driving like that. His drives or him literally catching the ball from either he's shooting a three from a catch up and shoot three, a spot up and shoot three, or he'll drive the ball and pass it out, drive, catch it, and drive the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like that's it. He's not dribbling up the court. He's not having to make a move. He's not having to do everything. All he's doing is standing in the corner, letting them two dudes cook.
like I do like the roster. I just genuinely believe they're going to struggle
Yeah,
inside.
they're gonna struggle. I just feel like if you can get past the West name, you're all right. If you can get past Nuggets, you're all right. In the West,
I mean,
because
yeah,
that's a big where you can cover. It's hard when you don't have another big. Hayes is good, like, but he's not no defender good
but
enough to hold
just
Jokic.
just off pure numbers alone, right? Anthony Davis averaging 12 rebounds between Hachimura and Jackson Hayes. They're at 9, right?
Look exactly. That's why I'm like, if we can get past Jokic, who's a dominating big, we should be all right because Porzingis and everybody in the East, that's not a dominating big. He's a scoring big. He doesn't, you know what I'm saying? You never known him to be a physical, big rebounding guy. Who else would you play in the West? None of them are like just bigs. You know what I'm saying? The only other big you would have had to worry about was Embiid, and he's no longer Embiid.
Chet's dangerous just because of
It's
scoring.
dangerous, but look, he's little.
Sagoon is
No
dangerous.
strength. None of them dudes got strength, so them are guys you can at least get and compete with and
Yeah, you
get
can compete with
rebounds.
him. Sagoon's probably the next best. Edie's probably out there too.
You know what I'm saying? So these are guys that like dudes when
Draymond's
you got
rough.
hyper physical strong dudes like Vanderbilt, Roy, and LeBron and all them. These are dudes that can. Those are 7 footers you can rebound
I
and
mean,
tussle with a get.
if you're talking about it, it's Sagoon with the Rockets, Joker with the Nuggets, Edie with the Grizzlies, Draymond with the Warriors, and you still have Rudy Gobert with the Timberwolves. Like those are all
Yeah,
solid centers.
yeah, and but like I say, them are all guys that some of them are the thin 7 footers. So them are guys you get physical with and you can get rebounds. Draymond that's a guy you can get rebounds on. But he's definitely become more physical. They just got to find how much they want to play him. Sometimes he's a 14-minute guy. Sometimes he's a 28-minute guy. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
they got to get more consistent on that.
And we'll see. It'll be interesting. And they're sitting fourth.
It'd be interesting for sure, yeah.
Right
But
now.
that's the only thing that Lakers got lucky on. It's not too many dominating bigs right now, but outside of Jokic in the West.
How much does
Like
that
those
matter?
guys that you saying they are dominating bigs, they're dominating in a
Yeah, but
scoring fashion.
dominating bigs haven't run the NBA for 4 or 5 seasons now.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Joker's
saying.
really the only one.
Them guys, they're dominating, but not on boards like that. Sabonis is, but I don't think he's gonna. They're not a threat. But those are guys, and Sagoon, he's gonna be great. He's gonna be great.
But yeah, I think the issue isn't like rebounds definitely are important. Don't get me wrong. Like you have to clean up the glass. But like I think the big issue that faces the Lakers is like if you can't spread the ball out and everybody can score, like that's where they're going to run into issues. two of 7 games, LeBron and Luka are going to just be your pure scoring options. They're going to win you the game, right?
Yeah.
You're going to need Hachimaru and Reeves
Reeves.
like, step up. And if they are no shows, like there's just no chance the Lakers can win.
Yeah, there's no chance. But I trust the Reeves now. I really do. He's been good. Last playoffs, he was pretty good.
Ball. Like, don't get me wrong, the brother can indeed ball. It's because they can do it. They need a lot of things to go their way, and they have to stay healthy. Like if they lose anybody, they're so.
If they lose anybody, though, yeah, you're done. Even if you lose Gabe Vincent, you're damn near in trouble.
I think the interesting thing is that Austin Reeves is having a better season, but if you look at his postseason last year, like he scored, but like he wasn't established in terms of rebounds. He wasn't established in terms of assists. Like, he was averaging 3.8 rebounds, 3.6 assists, which isn't bad, but like that was your third scoring option, right? And like
I think that this year is where he definitely got better, the rebounding and the assists, the playmaking.
He's increased in those areas.
He's increased in those. We know you can get a bucket, but that's what got so important, because now that you can open the floor, create your own and create for others, and you can score, like it just opens up the floor for everything, bro. That's why I said you're right. If they hit, even if Reeves can give us just a good 18 points tonight, it's going to be hard to beat them with LeBron and Luka. And then Luka's starting to look like Luka now, bro. We done won 2 games off the Luka back and Austin Reeves back, bro.
Hold on, wait a minute. No, don't do that, because I saw a Luka game where he was like 5 for 30. So don't act like, I mean, that is Luka, but don't act like
just Luka. Say Austin Reeves back too. So that game he didn't do it. Austin Reeves did it. Luka and Austin Reeves.
He was 8 for 20, and Austin Reeves was 10 for 21, and that was against the Suns. And then they played the Spurs.
10 for 21 is good. What do you mean?
No, that is good. And then against the Spurs.
What was Luka shooting against the Spurs?
5 for 20. But he went to the line 13 times. He was 1 for 7 from 3.
Yeah, he was nasty that Spurs game. But who went off again?
Reeves dropped 30. He was 12 of 21 from the floor, 5 of 13 shot 13 threes, shot 5 for 13.
And they doing this with people playing nasty, y'all. Like, just when shit start clicking for real, which the game they do click, it go crazy, but it's gonna be right, man.
Yeah, but it's the fucking Spurs, right? Let's take that with a grain of salt, to be fair. If Austin Reeves isn't dropping 30 on them, that's an issue. I mean, that lineup is Harrison Barnes, Biyombo, Chris Paul, Devin Vassell, and Stephen Castle, bro.
You just say one bad name. I would take any of those guys right now on the Lakers.
You said someone in the chat earlier, and it was yourself?
Yeah.
They definitely have a chance. I mean,
that's funny as
fuck. Those injuries, like having LeBron gone against the big names, like LeBron missed half of the third and the fourth quarter against Celtics. They lost. LeBron was missing the Nets game. They lost. Luka was also out of that game. Bucks game, Luka was in. They lost. No LeBron in the Nuggets game. They lost.
LeBron is important, bro. I'm telling you, I ain't gonna get on it today and make Grayson mad, but yeah, it just shows that 40-year-old motherfucker still is a big piece.
It's not even just LeBron. I think like we had just said. Like I'm just repeating myself at this point, but like injuries to that team. Like if there's one team that
if it's one guy, one thing.
It doesn't even matter if it's just LeBron. Like it's just an injury to anybody on that team.
Even Rui right now. Even then without Rui, they were balling when LeBron was there and they wasn't losing. But with Rui going, it still hurts you a little bit. But when Rui come back, bro. And then we're gonna have Bronny in, bro. I'm just messing with you, but I'm trying to start some shit. But nah, with Roy back, bro, it's gonna be nice, bro. Just because that's a nice defensive wing who can also hit threes and can create plays for you. Driving to the paint. Jackson Hayes is looking amazing, bro. Like y'all gotta give it to the guy. He's not gonna be no guy where I'm like, oh my God, Jackson Hayes is gonna be our savior. No, but Jackson Hayes minutes are important just because he gets the crowd going, he gets your team going, bro. Since Luka got there, I've seen Jackson Hayes where we'd be down like 12 points. He'll make a crazy ass dunk, get everybody going. We down 10, and we come back and win just because we start boom, boom, boom. So them minutes are important. He just got to learn how to stay out of foul trouble. Luka got to be Luka. And everybody just got to be themselves. They don't got. It looks like nobody got to be better than what they are. Nobody got to be better than what they are, and that's important.
Stop shooting 5 of 20 from the floor.
That just sucks. That's just nasty. You got to get more consistent.
Yeah, one thing you didn't mention that Nuggets game against the Lakers. The Lakers didn't have Jackson Hayes, Rui Hachimura, LeBron, or Luka. So Dalton Connect actually had 32 that game, and Austin Reeves had 37, and they lost by 5. But that was a rather interesting game for a fully healthy
Net. Like Net, bro, in the playoffs, and Net just at least give us 9 points tonight. That's literally all I'm asking. 9 points a night. If he averages 2.5 threes in the playoff a game, that's not crazy to ask for. They'd be in trouble because that's coming off the bench. People would be in trouble. Now, if he want to do more, he can do fucking more. If he want to start being a baby Reeves, he can be a baby Reeves. But Net is special. I ain't gonna lie. I still wish we would have did that trade, sadly, to get rid of Reddish and him for Mark Williams, because then I don't say nobody is beating the Lakers if they have Mark Williams. But yeah,
in the last, let's go like this. In the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. Let's check the Celtics game. Luka is 50% on whether he shoots above 50% or not from the floor, like in terms of like field goal percentage. Like he either goes 12 of 23 from the floor, or he throws up the fattest brick of all time and goes either 7 of 20 or 5 of 20.
Yeah, that's why I say you got to be more consistent than that. But shit, those nights, it's some nights where he's still shitting the bed and we winning. But you got to look at who the fuck you playing. In the playoffs is completely different.
You just can't do that in the playoffs.
That's complete. That's why I say you got to look at who you playing in the playoffs. Completely different. And like I said, we can't afford him to have a game like that at all. I mean, if he do have off night, we can maybe one game like that where old man go crazy and then Reeves go crazy and he just be like that third option guy. But I prefer not, because those are going to be the games where it's close as hell.
I think the very interesting portion of like the Mavs playoff run last year was the fact that there's so many nights that Luka did do that. Like Kyrie is a guy that can also go out and score you 40.
And exactly, and that's why I say,
and like LeBron technically could too.
What you mean technically? He's
not doing it as much as he did like back.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, this one is not. This 40-year-old one is not probably doing it as much, but he definitely can do it now. Like, if it's a night where you got to think it's every other night. So if he don't got to do it every night, hell yeah, he can give you 40 every other night. So he been damn near doing it in the last 30-some games where he give you 40, then he give you 30, then he give you 20, then he give you 20, might give you 18, then he give you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You got that, and then the thing that Mavs was missing, their third option last year was P.J. Washington. Our third option this year is Austin Reeves. But the Mavs also had a nice center rotation with Lively and Gafford.
I think the difference between Reeves and PJ is they're two very different players, and they specialize in two very different things.
Very different things, correct. There you go. But like I said, since Reeves is getting up to like that 4.75 rebounds a game, 6 assists range.
Problem is that Reeves is going to be a person that's guarding a 2 option on your team, because it's not going to be fucking Luka. You don't want Luka playing defense on the second scoring option. You're going to put LeBron on their best option. You'll put Reeves in the second, and I just don't think Reeves is as good as a defender as he is a scorer. I'm not saying he's bad at defense. I just don't think he's as good of a defender, and I think that's what PJ was so good at, was that he's a really, really good defender, and so it's okay for him not to score. And I'd rather have somebody, and that's kind of like the situation that like Drew Holiday is in, is that like I'm totally okay with Drew Holiday not scoring double digits every night, because he's going to limit damage every time he's guarded on somebody. And the fact that Drew Holiday can guard basically anybody on the court. And those are the guys that I love. I love guys like that.
I think that Luka would have to, if he's gonna have an off game, it had to be early in the series and have to be at home. The Lakers can't afford for him to have an off game on the road somewhere. No, they cannot. I don't think they win any road game where he doesn't drop at least 25 and 6. That's just my personal opinion.
Facts. No, that's facts though. See, there you go. I like when Grayson be fair. That's facts.
Yeah, I agree.
That's fact.
We're about to find out tonight. Is it a fully healthy Denver versus Lakers minus LeBron tonight?
Well, they're in LA. They're in LA tonight. So, but I don't know. I don't know if Jokic and them are going to be back because everyone sat the game before.
But yeah, and if they do, that's bullshit. But
Braun is day to day, Gordon's day to day, Jamal Murray's day to day, Joker's day.
Brian back.
So it looks like they're going to play. Let me go look at the Lakers.
I hope they play for my betting purposes.
Jemison the third is out. Hachimaru is out. Luka is day to day. And LeBron as the 16th was out. Doesn't look like he's back yet. Luka will play tonight. Hachimaru will not play tonight.
Do you got any confirms on the Denver side that's playing tonight?
Oh, I just read it off. Everybody's day today.
Yeah, okay. Because you were saying Luka was day, then you said he's playing.
Yeah, no, everybody on Denver, like the key Denver guys, I'll read it again. Braun is day to day, listed as questionable. Aaron Gordon day to day, but probable. Jamal Murray is questionable, and Joker is questionable. That was as of today or yesterday. I don't have. That was the last report that ESPN has.
Is it too late to sign people to 10 days?
Injury report.
No.
An updated one. Here, an hour ago.
No, it's not too late to sign people to 10 days. Who would you sign if you were the Lakers to a 10-day?
Man, I'm just sitting here, you know. What's up? I'm just sitting here, phone wide open.
Oh, you trying to get you a 10-day contract?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get Brian his fifth ring.
Everybody's listed as probable for the Nuggets. Or not probable, as questionable other than Gordon. Gordon is probable to play tonight.
Yeah, Gordon's gonna play, and for some reason he's gonna go for 25 points.
But I'm assuming that's questionable. They're probably going to play. I mean, Joker's is elbow, ankle. Jamal's ankle. Braun is foot. You might see reduced minutes, but I'm sure they'll play.
All right, so I want to get started in the next 2 or 3 minutes. Got a lot of topics. We got some NBA stuff, some March Madness stuff, some baseball stuff, a couple football things. Got a couple fiddle riddle questions and a couple of what are you doing Wednesdays? I think that'd be pretty fun. Let me see what else we got here. We also got just a couple of questions, would you rather, yes or no, give me a team, create one, and all those are going to be 45 seconds and under. Try to do that. If it's just us three, then we'll have some good fun with it and try to have some controversial takes to where it's somebody's gonna have to be the oddball. So I'll probably challenge myself and to do that, but we'll spend some time and everything. I know, Solomon, you're primarily baseball, primarily a savant in baseball knowledge, and then you have a plethora of other understandings, but that is your home base. And Cam, you are always at the table of King James, so it's just making sure that we're using topics that both people can flourish in, and then having segments to where one or the other is not completely dry. So something like March.
I'll be pretty dry on March Madness.
You're right. So something like March Madness. Do either of you have any base knowledge over any college basketball, women's college basketball? Let me know now so we can kind of just put it to the side today. No problem.
Cooper Flag is the truth, and I have a bracket, and that's I can only go off my bracket, and that's about. And my bracket
I can do both with a few players from top teams.
girls and boys. And Solomon, that's crazy. You play sports?
Dude, I watch every year I watch March Madness, but I just don't follow college basketball.
No, I'm saying when you be reading off your bio, I'll be forgetting he said you play sports, bro. If you were to tell somebody that you would call that sports, I would not believe you. You look like you graduated with an engineering degree or something.
No, my bachelor's is in kinesiology, and I'm reinventing my career and finally getting into sports management, which is what I probably should have done from the beginning.
But you were playing baseball, correct?
Yeah, I played Division I.
Yeah, that's crazy. I would not look if you told me you played D1 sports or something. I would say, man, this dude's fucking capping.
I'll tell you what, my JUCO years are a lot better than my Division I years. I'll tell you that much.
Nah, it don't matter, brother. Don't belittle yourself at all, bro. D1 going any college is college, but getting to the top of college is crazy.
I don't know how much you know about baseball, but Bobby Witt, I played against him. He was in our district in high school. Colton Cowser was in my conference in Houston Baptist.
You went to Trinity?
Say what?
You went to Trinity High School?
Yeah. I graduated 2016.
Yeah, so you were older than me. I was 2018.
He's Dejan's younger brother. Dejan Garrett. It's okay.
Big head. Short dude.
What position do you play?
Running back. Stewie looking. Number 9.
Is he back up to
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's crazy. Man, I used to go to baseball games too, but I didn't really know about baseball games. Yeah, we just live and sit on people's trucks.
Yeah, no, we were pretty good when we were there. Obviously, Jimmy is probably the best player to come out of our entire program, but
I was just a big Coach Aver fan. I know he coached baseball.
He coached DBs.
Yeah. Coach Aver's an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, he's like one of them very interesting white dudes, but I can say he at least himself though.
He means well, but he says some outlandish shit.
some crazy shit.
He says some crazy shit, bro. You're like, did he really just say that shit right now? Yeah, he did.
Well, high school coach, yeah, he definitely should be in college, I think, so more so, but he definitely could say about some crazy off the wall shit.
He's really good. I think the thing about Averett is that, like, in terms of the baseball side, I don't know what he was like as a football coach. I didn't play football, but like as a baseball coach, he's not really good with the knowledge set with like baseball mechanics and like making you a good player. He's really good with the leadership and like being a man side of things, you know. And I think as a high school coach, like that's perfect. I think he would struggle really badly at the college level because like, at that point, like you have to like improve,
develop the player.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you're definitely right because he definitely could not teach us shit about technique and all stuff. But like, being a man and doing stuff, he was a cool dude, and then he was the one who finally got me to start like going to class because I used to fail like all the time, bro. Like if it was the first 6 weeks, everybody knew I was gonna miss 2 games because I'm not going to class. But he definitely got me into like going into class and taking that shit serious. And you can't go to college without it. So like that's why I like him. You right now that I think about it. He don't know shit about the sport, but he's a cool dude. How a lot of talent went collegeless under his reign.
If you go. Jensen, obviously, we had Jensen was there. Yeah, Jensen was there when I was in school. If you just take the athlete pool from like 2015 at Trinity till like 21, 22, holy fuck, we were stacked in all sports. Like just in terms of talent level and the guys that went on to play in college, like it was insane.
Listen here. This is the crazy thing about it. I tell people this all the time. I would be like, bro, I played with some of the most stacked teams in high school ever. Like I never was the best player on my team until I was a junior. I was on varsity, one of the better players, probably the most athletic player, but I was not the best player on my team until 2017, and I had offers from as a freshman type shit, and I would be like, it was guys that were more important to the team that did not have offers that should have went D1. You know what I'm saying? And that's not taking from me. I was fucking amazing. Let's not get it twisted, but just guys I played with as a youngin that were fucking amazing as well that did not go D1 under, and it was because a lot of guys listened to the coaches. See, I was looked at somehow, some way, which I'm trying to be both sided. On one side, I was looked at as I guess undisciplined, or somewhat because I didn't listen to them. And I would go to I didn't really go to camps, but I went to the Nike Combine, and I would go to college visits and do camps sometimes here and there, right? And Trinity coaches hated that shit. And that's why the guys went unnoticed, bro. I'm thinking about our defensive line guys, our offensive line guys, just wide receiver guys. Even Nate was under recruited. Nate was a Trinity great. He was under recruited.
He was under recruited, but he also he was in that really tough situation because Nate
had the quarterback thing.
Perfect build for a running back, and he went to Indiana, and it just didn't. For whatever reason, it didn't work out. I mean, same thing with
He clicked for a little bit though. Big Bacon. He clicked for. He had a little name up there.
Yeah, he told me that he's actually gonna join the pod on a show pretty soon here. So we'll get him on an episode soon. We'll get Chris Daniels on an episode soon. We got a couple people coming in, man.
Yeah, facts. Cause
you have Chris Daniels, you have Tyler Nate, you have J-Ron, you have you. We have who's the cornerback over in Miami right now?
Cater Cole.
We have Cater, and then you go. Who's the offensive lineman that we had that went to UT?
Patrick.
We had Patrick.
You got Patrick. Oh, hey, wait, my bad. Cut you off. Can we answer this? Because I wanted to be like, damn, I don't know. Is Ollie Gordon now considered the Trinity GOAT because of his college career?
Shouldn't be, but he probably will.
He's not. Ollie is not. Ollie is not the best talent that's ever come out of Trinity, but he's probably one of the more successful. I think that's the same thing with me. Obviously I didn't make it to the highest level, right? But you can say the same thing with Cater. Cater was probably not the most talented,
yeah, but most successful.
Most successful, yeah. And it's the same thing with the baseball team. If you look at my senior year, the all starting 9, the 2 starting pitchers, and then me, all of us went to college, other than Kate Hutchinson. And out of all the guys that went to college, I was one of 3 that ended up playing Division I. Now, the 3 that ended up playing Division I, I was the only one that didn't wash out and played my full college tenure. And it's outside of that, if you then throw Jimmy Crooks in the situation, he's the most successful Trinity baseball player we've ever had. And because he's now playing with the Cardinals, so and he should get called up at some point this year. But that's the crazy thing is J-Ron. If you look at J-Ron and Nate, were some of the most physically gifted. When you watch J-Ron run with the ball in high school, it's oh my god, this guy's gonna go so far, and then he fucked away at Oklahoma State, right? And you're all right, how do you mess that up?
But that guy was amazing. And I'm glad Grayson said what he said because I didn't want to feel like I was hated just because I played with so many fucking greats, bro. And I was and to be fair, bro, he's very talented, but he was on a team of his own. He didn't have other greats on his team.
He was the only one, and he played quarterback too.
Yeah, he played we were stacked, bro. We were stacked.
The crazy thing is if you look at those teams, honestly, we should have been in the state finals if it weren't for the fact that Kyler Murray fucking existed the same 4 years I was in school.
Yeah, bro, my freshman year, 2015, we went, what was it, 4th round. We had them beat. At halftime, out of nowhere, Kyler Murray and finished the game with 490-something total yards. So,
bro, forget that. On 4th and 1, we did a fucking fullback sneak for whatever fucking reason to a person that wasn't even fullback.
2017 with Dylan fucking McGinn as a person.
Yeah, him and his brother are good people.
Yeah, that's why I said, y'all about to say I love it. That's why I said, everybody loves him. He knows shit. Me and him gonna talk shit to each other and have fun all day. And I said this even shit. That's why y'all know I say everything. I'm off the wall. I say it in front of everybody. But Yeah, we hadn't did that play or nothing all year in any type of way at all. Like that was not our thing that year was fullback. It was in the previous Trinity years, but that year it was not our thing. Um, and I understand what they were saying, but it was just not our thing. We had a guy in Greg Gardner and Carriage Klein that was rolling, bro. They were rolling that game. Like
Bro, it
we
was no
remember
different.
we sucked that year. We were not supposed to even get into the. I didn't look with my team, but I didn't play the game. But Brian Nelson, they lost to Brian Nelson. It was 0 something that year. Like we
I
sucked.
mean, it was no different than 2015, bro. You have Tyler Newton, you have J-Ron on 4th and 1, and you hand the ball off to fucking Mikey for no reason.
Not even Mikey, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like,
and Mikey's my guy too. Congratulations to Mikey. Him and his girl are expecting a child in a couple of months, so that's great.
I be liking the post and everything. This is not no nice McGinnis or Mikey because these two dudes I love. Like I love these dudes in high school, especially Mikey because I was younger. So these are older guys. I loved all the 2015, 2016 guys. But yeah, like I say, like we give the ball to Mikey. I love Mikey. I think Mikey had 3 carries on this damn year. Like it just don't add up. Man, bro.
That was the thing that always drove me nuts about our coaching staff is like when the game was on the line, we never gave the ball to our best player. We tried to get like cute with it, and it never fucking worked out.
We had a fucking cute team, and you know what else I want to blame? I got 2 things to blame, Grayson. I blame Neela for stealing Tyler Newton's phone, and I blame Coach Jensen for making us go see the damn Charlie Brown movie.
Fuck, you guys went to Charlie Brown movie?
We went to the movies in the first one.
We went to the South Granbury game. We had
was that when South Granbury came in and fucking wiped us on the floor when they shouldn't have?
Number 1 team in the state, yeah. Yep.
And fucking Tyler got hurt and came out in like the 3rd quarter and tried to do it.
Yeah, man, his hand was gone because somebody stole his phone on senior day, bro. We had just had an emotional ass, not somebody, Neela Kirsten. We had just had an emotional ass moment, and I love Neela. I talk to my friend, I still be telling him about that. So, yeah, like I said, this one no sneak this and that, and I say this shit.
I love Neela too. I just talked to him the other day, man. That's my guy.
I said, yeah, he was my guy. So don't think that I don't sneak this nobody or anything. This is something we joke about now. We all 30 years old, damn man. Yeah, bro, we had just had that emotional senior day. We crying and shit. Everything, hugging and stuff. And then my boy go back to the locker. His phone is stolen, bro. Like, come on, bro. We had a phone problem that whole year. J.S. Jackson got his phone stolen about 6 times. So it was
we had so much talent at Trinity. It was actually insane. It's crazy though. If you look at the entire like DFW area though during that time, like yeah, we were stacked, but like there's so many guys.
Bro, SGP itself, we should never even beat them the year before there when we came back. But SGP, even though it was an upset, it was okay. It was like understandable on paper that they beat us, but because listen to the numbers off D1, they're D1. So at quarterback, they had the Collinsworth dude. He went to go play at Iowa State. He played quarterback and safety. What type of dude does that? Like what? At 6 Texas football, he's a dog. He went to Iowa State. He went to the league. He's on the practice squad now, but elite is league. You have Atunza. He was my age, my grade. He went to go to TCU. He ended up getting the injury bug, but he went D1. He was like the number 3 safety in the country in my class. You got Jeffrey Okuda. We know his story. You have Caesar Williams. He went to go play at Wisconsin. You have number 9, that outside linebacker. He went to go play at ULM. You had the O lineman. I forgot his name, but he's starting. He went to TCU, the national championship team, and now he plays for the Chargers. They had a squad, bro. Talent-wise, I don't know why it never clicked for SGP, but there wasn't no pushover. So.
Yeah, no, they were a solid team. We just fucked that game away.
We just fucked that. We had an easy road. After that, we'd have played Denton Ryan with it.
Well, what's crazy is like we started out senior year on like the biggest high you could possibly ever start 2016 on. We beat we didn't beat the brakes off De La Salle, but we beat De La Salle. And we didn't lose all year long. We were undefeated all the way up until that first round.
And that offense is still to today, or if you go off records and number average per game, that's the best Trinity offense by numbers, I know y'all gonna be like, no, this is the Brandon Carter year, but by numbers, that was the best offense in Trinity history, offensive wise. So like that team was the team. That was the team. I think we just wasn't locked in for that first game, and then by the time we got locked in, and then y'all also got to think, bro. Somebody must have paid somebody. We had 3 touchdowns called back that game.
I remember that shit.
Yeah, one of was my fault. I had a holding.
You said I had a holding. Cause you really hold it?
Yeah, but no, I was on Okuda. I was on Jeff.
That's what I'm saying. Look, and the other two with the Cumbie brothers, and they, bro,
the fucking Cumbies.
The Cumbies.
Oh my god.
I love them two niggas though. I love them, bro.
Look, I love the Cumbies too, right, bro? That's what I'm saying, bro. It just wasn't meant to be, bro.
And then it was a defensive penalty on little Nata's little brother, little Nooble.
Oh yeah.
And then the botched kick.
Yeah.
It was so much shit that
was crazy.
Yeah, we still almost won. That's crazy. We had so much fucking. We only lost by a field goal.
It is what it is, man.
My 3 years of high school were lost to DeSoto, lost to Allen, lost to SGP. It was like that was what my high school career for the football team was.
Dang, mine was my 3 years of Trinity. Even though I left my senior year, it was a loss to Allen, lost to SGP, lost to Allen. Damn, Allen was my ass, huh?
Allen owned everybody for fucking 4 seconds.
I said, damn, Allen owned the fuck out of me. I don't got no good say about Allen.
After Murray, wasn't it Booty? Wasn't it General Booty that was over at Allen?
Yeah, it was General Booty, but it was another white kid too. It was General Booty and this white kid. The white kid and General Booty, they like rotated. The white kid was pretty good.
General Booty white too.
He went to Oklahoma. I mean, he was something.
I thought General Booty was mixed. He's just pure white.
Oh,
pretty sure.
Oh no.
But he just one of them real.
On the cameras, he looks white. I can't.
Yeah.
General Booty.
Yeah, he's a straight up white boy.
That might be crazy. Damn, I thought it was mixed. Yeah, well, damn. I guess I think I'm talking about General Booty then. And then y'all remember they had that light skin transfer that came in, the like tall dude. He wasn't really shit, but yeah.
There's definitely talent in that area for sure.
Shit, why y'all even playing? We had people shit. All right, our backup, y'all bullshit. Crack Mac was even on there. We had Crack Mac on D line. Crack Mac has a Crack Mac. Crack Mac has him go on certain plays. Crack Mac had go.
Shout out Corey, man, part of the team.
Craig Mac definitely has some go certain plays. Bro, we had, bro. I wouldn't go back, but I definitely great times for sure.
It was really good competition. I mean, to be honest, like it really got me prepared for college. Like,
oh yeah, facts.
Playing in college, like obviously it's a totally different level than high school was. Like there's definitely like a skill gap between most teams when it came to high school. But like when I was playing my senior year of high school, Coppell was the #1 team in the country. They had like 8 guys going Division I to like LSU, TCU.
Damn, I remember Coppell was cold.
And then Southlake had Cantorino. He's in the pros right now. He's pitching for the Twins. He'll probably get called up this year. And then they had another guy that got drafted too. And then of course you had Colleyville, who had Bobby Witt, and the other guy that got drafted. Let's see what else we had. And then obviously we played against Midlothian in the playoffs. They had their catcher go to TCU. I mean, bro, it was that. And we played against Keller. Keller had this third baseman that ended up going to Division I. He was fucking.
Those all just sound like prototypical schools that are called at baseball.
Baseball is nuts, dude. There was so much talent. Like, it was insane. And it was crazy because like looking back on it now, like you would kind of be like, oh my god, those guys are like good. But like in high school, it was like we didn't give a fuck who the hell we played against. It was like we're gonna beat the fucking shit out of these guys all the time. And it was like, and that's just how baseball. And it's no different from football, but it's like you look back on it, you look at like the career paths those guys had. You're like, man, those guys were fucking cold. Like if they were just like physically matured, it'd be a different story. And that's like the biggest difference. Like when you go from high school to college, is like the physical maturity from a senior in high school to like a junior in college.
And I feel like that was definitely my problem right there. Like talent wise, like I was always like top tier talent dude on the team, just from God gifted talent. But like I had started playing early, and my thing is I hated the weight room, and that came back to haunt me, bro. Like my freshman year at Nebraska, it was the second game of the year, and we're playing Colorado. And it's a rivalry game or whatnot, and boom, we go down on kickoff. I'm out of nowhere. Some dude just come off, just smack me out of nowhere, tore my whole labrum out of place. I'm like, how the fuck did he hit my labrum out of place? Like, I knew it was, and that Big Ten football. Oh yeah, this is a whole different game, man.
Wow, it's a different world for sure.
It's a whole different world, bro. You just can't be like a crazy athletic guy. You gotta have some type of weight room strength in you, or it's over with, bro.
I think that's what's crazy about who's the wide receiver over at Alabama, the freshman that's like 17.
Williams. That's what surprises me because I know he's not no weight room specimen. That's just
he's a twig, bro. He's like Devontae Smith, but man, is he
he's smaller than Devontae.
Yeah, he's smaller, bro. There's some people like that. Like, see, like some people like that. That's just different type of talent. Like different. That's like that 0.5%. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The elites. Yeah, elites. Like elites. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of guys that can run fast as fuck, can jump high as fuck, can jump high, do all the little crazy little thing, but it's a certain amount of guys that can stay in the air for 3 seconds, turn their body while they're in there, and then as soon as they touch the ground, they're almost at top speed. Like
that was Anthony Angel. Anthony Angel was probably one of the most physically talented individuals we have in the baseball team, but he could just not stay healthy, much less put it all together when it came to like pitching. But that kid could run, he could jump, he could do fucking all of it. He plays sand volleyball now, and kid's fucking.
Yeah, he plays with Chino.
Yeah. They're fucking. He's nuts, bro. He's so athletically gifted. He just couldn't put it all together. But
I'm trying to think who we had that was just crazy athletically gifted that didn't really go like just far, or didn't really go play after. I don't know. We had a million wide receivers that were like athletic as fuck, but shit, sadly they went to Trinity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you didn't go anywhere if you were a receiver at Trinity.
You should have left. You should have left, buddy, because you had some go to you. But we're glad you stayed for personality purposes, and you were a selfless guy. But that's one thing you can say about any like wide receiver at Trinity. They all had to be very selfless because that year Grayson, who I want to actually say that was good, Grayson, Corday, and. Who else we had that was good wide receiver that just like Grayson that was actually like worth throwing the ball to during that year? Like that actually like did us in practice and stuff when we go against each other. Cause I remember me and you got into it a few times back then.
Yeah, I used to get into it with all y'all boys. I ain't gonna lie. I was getting into it with the coach. I was getting into it with everybody.
Yeah, shit talker and I'm smart at it. Alec, don't let Grayson have a fuck.
That's not him and Avery gonna get along, bro.
Yeah.
That's exactly why him and Avery.
Yeah, I beefed in baseball. Yeah, it is what it is, man. Look.
That's actually why me and Grayson got along, just because like I would get pissed because nobody else would do nothing, but then Grayson was the only one who had some twang to him. And Corday Burns. I'm trying to think of who else. But like,
Garcia was smooth. Michael was smooth.
Oh yeah, Mike was smooth. He was in the slot. I feel like. Who else we had? That they didn't throw on defense. Cause yeah, we had some guys, bro.
Yeah, it was some talent. But hey, man, such is life.
Such is life, right? That's why I say good time. Wouldn't go back at all. Wouldn't change a thing, but definitely great man.
Learning lessons. I often think about going there and burning it all down, but you know.
Oh yeah, me too, bro. And then they're just very I just hate they're very, very, very disrespectful. I just hated that last staff. Where they go? I just hated them so much, bro. Because like I would have never left Trinity, and I'm not one of them dudes, but like who want too much fame, but like my track shit, that's individual shit, and they took all that away from me, and nobody's broken at all. Like. That's just weird. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That upset me a lot, kind of, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna harp on fucking high school shit, but Exactly, I did stuff in college, but that's shit. You work for that shit. Goddamn, you want little records and stuff like that. Like nobody broke my record, but my name's not on the fucking record board no more.
Yeah.
Weird shit.
That's how it be, man. I don't know. That was a weird adjustment. Going into college as a student, not a student athlete, and looking like I know I'm better than so many of these guys, and then going graduating, and then like I used to dunk on that nigga, and he just caught an interception. He just caught Aaron Rodgers' throw, and I used to dunk on him every practice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So pridefully, it's like, what? But then it's like, you know what? All right. It was not meant for me. You feel me?
But at the same time, that's why I just feel like it might not have been, bro, but I still be wanting to bring up that issue. I don't know how I got to bring it up, but it was just too many of y'all guys who should have played, bro, and just got fucked for no reason. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, like shit, you guys are different from handling that. I had to like walk away from football on my own terms. Y'all didn't get to walk away on your own terms.
Well, I think it was different. It was different time. Like my dad lived in DeSoto, and I knew everybody. I knew my dad lived in DeSoto my entire life. South Dallas, DeSoto my entire life. So I could have moved and played over there, but I didn't want to leave. And so it was like, you want to go to Georgia and be a superstar, or you want to go to DeSoto and play with your other homies? And I was like, nah, I want to stay here. And I burned the bridges with so many of the coaches my sophomore year from fighting with them and you know what I mean? Because I played with them boys against Kyler Murray. I was a part of the scout team that turned varsity, and they would draw routes up for me. Fuck that. I'm finna go kill your guys. What do I look like? That's not getting them ready. You know what I mean?
Fact.
And so you call a problem. All right, line me up against whoever. What's going to happen? And then you get mad when I beat your guy. And now you're trying to send people out to hurt me. That's different, you know? And then you got people the one thing I didn't like about high school politics, you have people's moms in the booster clubs making cookies for the coaches. And that's how he got playing time. You feel me?
Yeah, no, in fact, and that's how it goes for THS. That's exactly how it goes. You can kiss butt and you might get your son, even if he's close and the other dude is close, you can get your son playing time by kissing butt. You definitely can.
So like I learned that, you know what, I'm gonna take the pill, but you best believe like the next generation, my children are going to know. I'm gonna know as a parent how to like navigate differently. You feel me? My parents did the best they could, but I was in my own head like, the fuck I look like. You know what I mean? You got me bent, right? So I can just try better with the next, you know? But it is, at the end of the day, it is what it is, because I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. I would have never met my wife if I would have went a different avenue. You know what I mean? So it's like,
fact, bro. Look, you spit bars, bro. That's the same shit I say. Like, shit is what it is. Like, I would have never had my child if shit didn't go this way. If I would have stayed at this school, or I would have never. Like, it had to happen, type shit.
Yeah.
We talking about some Marvel shit. It's only one way. What Dr. Strange say? It's only one way.
Yeah, man. That's why. You know, my wife was, man. I be trying to talk my wife's ear off about this stuff, man. And it's like, she's like, you should start a podcast for yourself. And I was like, you know what? I got a better idea. How about I just invite everybody that's in all my group chats and see who wants to join? Because we all love to talk about this. We all love these things. And it's like, at the end of the day, if nobody listens and nobody views, we're at least there for each other. You know what I mean? So, like,
hey, look, that's what I like joining, bro. I don't really. Shit, I know everybody in my, but I don't get to talk sports to nobody every day. I'm in the truck every damn day, so when I get to talk to people live, I be feeling like I be happy as fuck, because the only other time I'm talking is talking business and stuff like that. So it feels good, brother, and I appreciate the invite. I know I told you before, but it shit really is like therapy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, last year I tried to do a men's mental health Mondays, and I was doing it once a week. And it was fine at first, and then it kind of slowed down, and then just turned it to me and two other guys, and then it was like, dude, I could just give you a call, and you know, I'm not saying I got discouraged, but it was like a lot of guys don't want to talk about, you know, what's going on, but they want an outlet, you know what I mean? So it's like, why not create something like this to where, you know, it's like, hey man, like this is some time to just want, you know what I'm saying? So
I think this was like more facts. I think this is like comfortable for us, like to be able to do.
Yeah. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and jump on. It's 5:00 now. I'm gonna have to cut. I'm gonna have to cut a little bit from our. We've been on for about 40 minutes, but I guess let's officially start now. So looking at the seedings, got about 2.5 weeks left. Let's just jump into basketball first. Why not? 2.5 weeks left. Lakers, Nuggets tonight. Who y'all got?
If the Nuggets have everybody play, I'm probably on the side of the Nuggets. It's probably like a 5 to 7 point game, probably win. I'm not sure what the odds are, but I think it'll be close. I really do, but it depends on I think what the final injury report is.
I'm gonna go with tonight. I think the Nuggets sadly pull it off again, just due to the fact that they're the healthier team if everybody playing now. Because right now we're all waiting to get the official injury report for tonight. If you're missing Jokic or even Justin Murray, I feel like the Lakers could squeeze and pull it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's that injury report. I think is a big portion of it. I think both teams match up well against each other when healthy. I think that's like a series that I would really like to see come playoff time. I don't know if we will actually get it, but Luka can obviously ball. Like he can do it by himself. We've seen it for a very long time over in Dallas, but that center matchup, if Joker's healthy, it's a nightmare. I think for the Lakers.
Yeah, this is
for sure missing Hachimura tonight.
Absolutely, this is a big one for the Lakers. This is an absolute big one for the Lakers right now. Denver is one full game ahead of the Lakers, and they're tied with Houston for 2 and 3. Houston has the tie over Denver. If the Lakers lose tonight, not only will they be 2 games back from Denver, but they also will drop from Memphis because they're tied with Memphis 4 and 5, and the tie is with the Lakers. So they'll then go to 5, which means they'll be going to Memphis, which has been a rival for LeBron and the boys in the history. I know Anthony Davis isn't there anymore. Steven Adams isn't there anymore. Shannon Sharp's still gonna be there courtside, and it's still gonna, it's still gonna stir things up. So I'm just saying that's a very interesting thing. Looking at that, the gap is marginable, in the East, but the gap is not that bad in the West. And there's a chance that if Golden State plays where they're playing, going 3 or 4 out of 6, they can catch, because they're 16.5 and Memphis and Lakers are 13.5. So there's a way they can catch that as well. Speaking of catch, Dallas right now losing, and they are 23.5 back from number 1. Phoenix is 24.5 back, and they play the Bulls in a couple of hours. I think Phoenix has the tiebreaker. And what do y'all feel if the Mavericks lose to the Pacers and Phoenix is now in the play-in? What does that mean?
I don't think it really changes the dynamic much. I think everybody's expecting the Suns to get that final play-in spot. I think everybody in Dallas wants the tank to come out. I think that's really what the vibe is. It kind of feels really bad if you're a Dallas fan, or you're to trade away Luka and still kind of make the playoffs, because you're kind of going to be sitting on that what could have been kind of mindset, So I think if you're a Dallas fan, you really just want the tank to happen. So it's like, yeah, see what happens when you trade away Luka. Like we missed the playoffs, right? Because a week before the trade happened or whatever. I mean, the Mavs were top 4 in the West, if I'm not mistaken.
They looked good, man.
They did look good, right? So the Suns have a long way to go. They're still below 500. I just don't see them making a long run. We've been expecting the Suns to be good for such a long time with how talented the roster is, and they just haven't been able to put it. But I think they can for sure secure that play-in spot.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think the Suns lock up their last play-in spot, only because, like I said, the Mavs, even as an organization, you might as well tank just to get a higher draft spot. I mean, like I said, you might end up getting, it depends how the lottery go or whatnot. But yeah, you just want this year to be over with, man. Guys are going down every week. The guys that you traded or had on your roster this year, example, Quentin Grimes, are going for 30 points each night. It's just time to call it a season. There's nothing wrong with that. And then Suns, like I say, they got to make one last push. This thing is breaking up anyways. Let's go out with a bang.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Quentin has not only been dropping 30s, he's been dropping 40 bombs. He still turns the ball over at an exceptionally high rate, and I don't think his playmaking ability is but he can score. He can score really well. I think the 76ers are going to use him. Kind of similar, if you remember the first quarter of the season, they had a guy who painted his fingernails out there with Tyrese Maxey was down, and he was dropping insane numbers too. The second coming of Curry. So, take into consideration the amount of talent that Dallas is letting go. Take into consideration the amount of talent that Dallas has lost due to injuries. A lot. Dante Exum, Kyrie Irving, Lively. I mean, ridiculous amount. Was Luka still the worst trade out of everything that happened during the trade deadline in terms of this season? I know in terms of longevity, sure, right? Hypothetically, every team pays him, right? But out of this season, right, looking at what the Mavericks had, was the Luka trade really that bad if they were trying to play for win now? Or has it just been an unfortunate circumstances of other things that's also doomed them?
I believe that the Mav trade wasn't even the worst trade this season. I am starting to see another team out there in the East, in the beautiful lands of Miami, starting to wet the bed. Absolutely wet the bed without.
It's more. It's some solid in that bed. It's some solid in there.
Yeah, it's a little bit of poop in that diaper. They have dropped a seed spot almost each game now. Even though the East wasn't as close as the West is, as far as seeding goes and games behind. But yeah, the Heat are absolutely terrible, and it's like, where do you go from here? Looking for the future, because Wiggins, Jimmy Butler is the whole Heat culture, and there's nothing to take from Andrew Wiggins, but like, he was y'all everything. We really know it. We seen it. We call him Jimmy Playoff for a reason. In the playoffs, he's everything, and another dude might step up outside of Tyler Hero and Bam, but those are average guys. So I don't even think Mav trade was the worst trade this season for a win now.
Another trade that I probably want to shout out as probably equally as bad. I'm going to go with the Julius Randle and Cat trade. That trade just has not worked out for either team. If you go look at 23-24, Timberwolves finished third in the West at 56-26, and the Knicks finished second in the East at 50-32. The Knicks are now 43-24, third in the East, and highly unlikely they'll catch the 2 seed. And the Timberwolves are fighting for not to be in the play-in spot. So it's just like, I feel like that trade ended up being a net negative for both teams. I think, like, on paper, the idea seemed good, and like both teams got what they thought would help their team succeed, but it just hasn't worked out the way it should have for either one.
Okay, so go ahead, Cam.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's great to say that. I was about to say Julius Randle and the Timberwolves are on a little streak right now since he's been back. I think they're like, probably have not lost a game. But overall, the season when he's been there, it's just been terrible for both sides.
So I want to correct you two gentlemen, because I so hardly care about you two gentlemen, and I just want to say something about the Minnesota team that has been highly misunderstood. They haven't been healthy. Looking at the last 15 games that Julius Randle has played, guess how many they've won?
15.
13. So a lot of the problem with the Minnesota Timberwolves is that as a unit, they have not been healthy. They didn't have DiVincenzo. They didn't have Gobert. And I love Rob. But he's out there playing 20 minutes a game. Like, almost 10 games a season. That's a lot.
I mean, I think to kind of counter what on that point though, it's like you as a front office when you're trading, like obviously you're going off talent with fits your team, but Julius Randle has been an injury prone player for a bit now, and so like that's something that they were willing to gamble with, and it hasn't paid off. Like when he is healthy, and it was the same story in New York last year. It's like when Julius Randle was healthy, that Knicks team was dangerous. When he was on the court, the Knicks team was non-existent, right? And it seems like that's now the same story in Minnesota. And Minnesota was willing to gamble, like, hey, what if Julius Randle's healthy this entire season, type thing. And still, at the end of the day, like, if you trade for a player who can't stay on the court, it's still at the end of the day not the most ideal trade because on the flip side, Cat's been healthy all season long, and it hasn't panned out for the Knicks either. But you could have had Cat still, and probably still had the same success you had last season.
Here's the thing. I like that take in terms of health, but I wanna play devil's advocate. Looking at the Knicks last season, looking at the Knicks 2 years ago, who was their guy? Who was the number one?
It was
Julius Randle. So you had Jalen Brunson. And that's no disrespect to Jalen Brunson, okay? But I don't feel like he can be number one on a championship winning team. I don't feel like Trae Young can be number one on a championship winning team either. And it's not because they're small. It's just not. I just don't think that either of them can do it. Julius Randle was the guy in New York. He is a number one. Now, can he be a number one on a championship winning team? Huh?
Not anymore, really.
I don't. Go ahead.
He's 18 points per game, 47% from the floor.
Yes. I'm saying.
And this is with Bam being the number one, though. So you believe he was supposed to be the number one on
right. So the thing is, you take someone like Karl-Anthony Towns, who was not the number one in Minnesota. When he was the number one, it was not successful, even when Jimmy Butler was there. And you take him and put him in New York to fill bigger shoes of someone who was number one. Now Karl-Anthony Towns is running number two, and it's doing fine. But then you also add Mikal Bridges. You have OG Anunoby. There's no way that team roster-wise isn't a 50, 60 win team. At least 65 win team. But to everyone's knowledge, to everyone's understanding, other than the people in New York, they're not winning anything. So I look at Minnesota, even as a play-in team, injuries aside, as a better chance of getting higher out of the West than the Knicks do, with 4 teams being under 500 in the playoffs. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
No, I for sure think that's fair. If you're the Knicks, is like looking at that trade overall, is Karl-Anthony Towns a better needle pusher than Julius Randle is? I think the Knicks were frustrated with the injury from last year. I felt like they wanted to get something done. I think Minnesota, at the end all be all of it, got the better end of the deal, right? Obviously, the Knicks should be playing better.
Cat been hoping, though.
Cat's hooping. I mean, he is, but it's like, I think in terms of, if we're looking down the future for Minnesota, I think it's still bright if Randle can stay healthy. I mean, between the last two seasons, right? If you talk about this year and last year, he played 46 games in total last year, so he missed more than 50% of this, about 50% of the season. This year, we still have games left, obviously, but he's got 57 games under his belt, right? He hasn't ever played a full season. Obviously, we know the NBA rest guys, the organization rest guys, but the only time he's ever played all 82 games was the 2017-2018 season. Other than that, he hasn't been north of 77, maybe once outside of that. And that was 22-23, right? So it's like you're missing 10, 12 games, right? If you have a good team, that really shouldn't be a big deal because there's guys that miss all the time. Obviously, LeBron, he's missed some games. Luka's missed some games. Tatum's missed some games also down the backstretch. You know, we could name any of the superstars. They've all missed games, but if you really, I think seeding becomes a big factor for a team that's making a championship push. Throwing out the Miami team from 22-23, seeding really matters, right? And so it's kind of vital to not have your big players miss too much.
I agree. And in terms of missing, in terms of missing, he has clearly gotten back at just the right time. Yeah. But it's still going to be really hard in that West, man. Memphis is not going anywhere. Houston is not going anywhere. So, unfortunately, 2 of these 3 teams are going to be in the play-in, as in Memphis, Golden State, and the Clippers. So, let's talk about Golden State first. Golden State snuck out a greasy win against the Bucks after losing to the Nuggets fully healthy against the Nuggets, who was fully depleted. And then Steph Curry said, I'm tired, I'm resting, and the Warriors, led by Draymond Green, sitting in a chair against Giannis, completely sat on the Bucks. I don't even think the Bucks scored 100. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah.
The Bucks scored 93 points.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
I seen it. That's nasty. On the Bucks, especially with me just calling them a sleeper team. Like I said, they have games like this where they look terrible, but then they have games where I'll be like, oh my God, they can be scary if everything's clicking. Because the East Big Three and the West Big Three are 2 totally different things. You know what I mean? So Damian Lillard, Kyle Kuzma, and Giannis is a good East Big Three. But yeah, when you have games like that's terrible, especially without Curry. Warriors without Curry should never beat you in any era besides the KD era. So yeah, that's just nasty. That's very nasty. It's too late in the season to lose games like this, and that just shows they might not be ready.
I'm looking at the box score now, and it's one of those games that on paper, like if you take out the final score of this game, it doesn't make sense how the Bucks lose this game. 4 of their 5 starters are in double digits, right? 20 from Giannis, 22 from Kuzma, 16 from Lopez, 16 from Dame, right? They had in total less than 10 turnovers compared to the 18 turnovers that Golden State had. Golden State only had 3 starters that were in double digits, 24 from Jimmy, 14 from Post, 17 from Brandon, I don't know how to say his last name. And
Pod.
Pod. And then Buddy Hill had 15 from the bench, but like Golden State lost turnover battle. Their starters didn't play objectively as good as the Bucks starters did. It was pretty even on the glass. Like I just don't really know.
It was not
where it kind of went wrong, I guess.
That's where it went wrong. The rebounds, I think it was about 10. It was about 10 and about maybe 6 or 7 offensive rebounds for the Warriors, and then free throws. So you're not hitting your threes, and then you're letting them get offensive rebounds, second chance points. I mean, what was the total shots?
It was
like 16 points is disgusting.
The Bucks were 31 from 79 from the floor. The Warriors were 32 of 77 from the floor.
Yeah, so 3-pointers.
At the line, the Bucks were 19 of 27, 70% from the line. The Warriors were 23 of 26. And then from 3, the Warriors shot 38%, the Bucks 31%. So, I mean, just capitalizing, I think, on the opportunities that they got. But, like, the Bucks didn't objectively play terrible other than not capitalizing on their trips to the line. I mean, that's 8 points that they leave on the line. That makes that a 101 to 104 game, technically speaking. I mean, yeah, I think it's a concern bigger for Milwaukee. We'll just count it up to the Warriors are a gritty team. They find ways to win. But the Bucks can't have performances like that in playoffs.
Cam? Oh, you already spoke. Yeah. Yeah, you said it was disappointing, and you just said they were a sneak team. Yeah, here's what I'll say. Wins like that are less important than the loss that the Warriors gave up the night before. If it was my personal opinion, I'm much more bothered by the Bucks losing to the Warriors without Curry than the Warriors losing to the Nuggets without Jokic. Like my personal opinion. Jokic is a master facilitator, does several things very well, but when the whole team, I mean, you had 50 turnovers and 1 made 3-pointer. I'm exaggerating on both of those columns. Of course, you're going to lose to the Warriors. That just makes sense. But Dame giving me 16, who is guarding you? No, that doesn't, I just can't, I can't see. We just had this discussion a couple of days ago in the pod, and for sure in the group chat, Dame was, I threw an apple out there as Dame is one of the greatest of the shooters, period. And it's like consistently this thing where when he was in Portland, he got scapegoated because he wasn't on cable, he wasn't on TV, and CJ was there to pick up the slack. But boom shakalaka, here he is with a non-shooting Dame and Chris Middleton with 2 broken ankles, and he's having to carry, and it's not working. I wonder why. So you wanted a stretch shooting big. You wanted somebody to get out the way. You got Brook Lopez. You want Chris Middleton gone. You got Kyle Kuzma, who shot, 18 threes last night? 15 threes last night? I mean,
13.
13. He had, 4? So, I mean...
Yeah, you're never going to be considered a contender or a threat if you have Kyle Kuzma shooting that many threes.
I mean, yeah, exactly. And Kyle Kuzma... Trading for Kyle Kuzma to be your third option showed me how for real the Bucks are. It's 2 weeks left in the season, and after a disappointing loss without Curry, Doc Rivers wants to have a sit down with Giannis and Damian Lillard to figure out what's going on. No, you want to have a sit down to figure out where to send your termination papers. That's what you want to do. You want to get out of there before they get you out of there. Speaking of Kyle Kuzma and third options, I think the most valuable third option in the league, Norman Powell, and the Clippers did a great job yesterday against the Cavaliers. Man, oh man, Kawhi dropped 30. Yo, it was looking good. Zub had a 20-20. Man, what y'all think about that? Is it bigger for the Cavaliers? Is it bigger for the Cavaliers that they lost against the Magic and now lost against the Clippers? 2 playoff teams, push playoff teams that are trying to figure their way in. Or is it bigger for the Clippers, who are looking good now that they're healthy? What do y'all think?
I think the implications are large for both teams. I think it's huge for the Clippers to get that win because obviously they're trying to avoid a play-in spot. It's very doable because, two wins, 2 losses from the teams above you, and you're now no longer in the play-in spot. But I would say that it's arguably a worse loss for the Cavs, because if you want to go and take a look at the standings, Boston's 6.5 games back from you, and I promise you, Boston can catch them. Right? You mess around a little too much, and you all of a sudden you're out of the 1 seed, and that's a dangerous game to be playing. I think we all agree that the East is not the strongest of the 2 conferences. Right? Too many teams are below 500 overall. Past the 6th seed, all your playing teams are below 500, but you don't want to mess around and get a more challenging opponent in the first couple rounds and make your path to the Eastern Conference Finals tougher.
Yeah, and especially because you lost to the nasty Pacers last year, so it shows that anybody can give you guys a run for your money.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Donovan Mitchell had a minus 19 differential on the court. He was 18, 4 and 11. Not a bad stat line. You had 4 of your starters in double digits, but Donovan Mitchell shot 5 of 18 from the floor, 2 of 9 from 3. Did his job at the line, but if at the end of the day, when you're looking at playing against the Celtics, you cannot shoot 2 of 9 from 3. You can't do it. You're not going to beat a team like that. And if you do that against some of these worst teams in the Eastern Conference Finals, you will lose. I mean, I think it's been proven that teams in the Eastern Conference Finals, where they may not be the strongest teams we've ever seen, but you get some really gritty teams out of the Eastern Conference Final. I mean, we had the 8 seed Miami Heat go to the NBA Finals 2 years ago. Right? That tells you everything I think you need to know about that conference. We had the Pacers beat the Bucks last year. The Bucks should in the East can cause issues, I think, for those higher seeds.
Cam, anything you want to add on top of that? I know you spoke, but just
like I say, I mean, the Cavs, they're the Eastern OKC. Great regular season record. I feel like a lot of teams don't mind seeing them in the playoffs just because, like I say, you can game plan against them. If Donovan Mitchell is not going golfing, that's really it. If Donovan Mitchell's not going golf, you have a chance to beat them any night. Evan Mobley is a great player. I don't even see how he's in MVP conversations, though, averaging I mean, just with his numbers. And Donovan Mitchell's the guy, but I guess because he's a rebounder and a defensive guy. But like I say, if you take away their offense, which is Donovan Mitchell, you can win easily. Darius Garland's good, but not consistent. Evan Mobley's good, not consistent. Jared Allen's not a scorer. Simple as that.
I mean, you look at the Cavs schedule. It's not the toughest schedule. I think in terms of playing against teams that are above 500, you got Detroit, you have the Knicks, and you have the Pacers, and that is 5 of your remaining 14 games. I think the biggest factor for them is that they're playing 8 of those 14 games on the road. They're right now on a West Coast trip. They'll play Sacramento, Phoenix, Utah, Portland, come back home, play San Antonio, travel over to Detroit, and then they'll play the Clippers and the New York at home. It's not by means like is it a hard remainder of the schedule, but you drop games to any of these kind of teams that are not really in the conversation, it's really going to look rough.
Yeah, so a couple fun quick stats here. First of all, the Cavaliers are tied for the best record in all the NBA on the road, right? Secondly, out of all the playoff teams, the 6 and 6, not 7, 8, 9, 10 on either side. Guess who has the number 1 record playing the other 12 playoff teams? The Cavaliers at 21 and 6. So there's a couple of teams in there. The Pistons 7 and 19, Bucks 8 and 17, the Grizzlies 9 and 16. You want to guess a couple other ones that are under 500? The Knicks 10 and 15, the Nuggets 10 and 12, and the LeBron Lakers 10 and 11. Those are the records against the other 12. So taking into consideration how many people have played more than other people, there's probably some more games we play, but I'm not really concerned about the Cavs dropping low enough for Sucks to catch. If that happens within this amount of games, I'll be concerned to how the Cavs play first round. If we're looking at the seeding right now, man, oh man, one of them is going to get a very easy first round. The Celtics and Boston both are going to smack the Hawks. They both would smack Chicago. They both would smack Toronto. They both would smack Miami. The only team, the literal only team out of the 5, because I will say 5, because Toronto possibly could catch Miami, right? The only team is Orlando. Which one wants to play Orlando first round? That's the only problem. Detroit, Milwaukee, and Indiana all have an opportunity to get a first round bye. So I think out of them, I think that Milwaukee can beat New York. I don't think Indiana can beat New York. I don't think Detroit can beat New York. I think Indiana possibly could beat Milwaukee. I think Detroit possibly could beat Milwaukee. I think Detroit, Indiana will be a great fun series, but that they're the only thing that's going to be changing seeding wise. I think 1 and 2 is too far apart. 2 and 3 is too far apart. 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 ain't changing. So that's the only thing I got there. The Cavs are interesting because they've proven so much and at the same time so little. It's ridiculous how wildly and consistent they are at the same time so good, and it makes me feel like they're never going to be good or never going to be a serious threat. The Clippers, on the other hand, if they find a way to run against Houston first round, they're going to beat them. If they play the Lakers first round, they're going to beat them. I'm sorry. I don't think there's many teams that can beat the Clippers. I think Memphis, maybe. The Nuggets, yes. OKC, yes. Warriors, maybe, but they're not going to play to the first round. I think they could beat Houston. I think they could beat the Lakers. It's just a matter of matchups in the West, with Clippers being healthy.
Yeah, the Clippers have a good team, right? And we all know the West is very close. There's good teams in it. It's like I said, it comes down to seeding. I think they've handled their business against the really bad teams, right? They're 24 and 10 against below 500. They're not bad against the 500 and above teams. They are 15 and 20 though. But I just because you're not going to have home court advantage, right? And I think some of the environments they can play in, if Houston is in the playoffs, I think this will be the first time in a long time, or in a while at least, right?
Well, that they're this high, yes.
Yeah. So like Houston's gonna be rocking. Like Houston is a tough place to play for any sport that is in playoffs. Denver is a tough place to play. Yeah, I would agree that they probably beat the Lakers. They could probably beat the Grizzlies. Like they are by no means a bad team. And we forget like Kawhi was hurt all year long, but he's still one of the best two-way players in the NBA.
Yes. Yeah, my problem. Look, I love Houston. I love Houston organization. I've been rooting for them for years now. My problem is that sometimes they get a little caught up playing street ball. Ime Udoka is a fantastic coach that can reel them back in, but their superstars get caught playing street ball. Sengun, he wants to do Euros from the three-point line just randomly, 4 possessions in a row. Jalen Green gets frustrated because he didn't get a foul call, and then he takes one dribble past half court and throws up a 3. Airballs it. If he airballs it, he's going to go try to dunk on somebody. It's like Fred VanVleet, as good as he is, he's 6 feet tall. And he plays decent defense for that, he is important to the Houston's engine in terms of success. They did horrible without him. But I can't sit there and rely on him and let's take him out for a second. I cannot rely on Dylan Brooks and Amin to go back and forth guarding ball, being the main ball handlers. I respect Eason. I don't think Cam Whitmore plays. I don't think Cocaine Curry plays Shepherd. I like Jabari Smith being back. He's come back and he's shooting all over the place. But do I see him getting 20-something minutes successfully against any of these teams? No. I think he's maybe plus 4 or 5 at best in a series, plus minus. Same with Memphis. We just saw Desmond Bane drop 40 2 days ago, 44. I mean, brick shoulders can hoop. And I don't know what Ja Morant we're gonna get first round playoffs, but see you later, Cam. Which Ja Morant we're gonna get in the playoffs, but man, I mean that's just an interesting discussion.
I think an interesting thing for the Clippers is that in closed games or 3-point games, they're 4-6 on the year, but 10-point games, they're one of the best teams in the West outside of OKC. OKC's 43-3 in 10-point games. The Clippers are 25-13, right? So if they get ahead of you by 10 points, they're going to put you away, right? But if you can keep it close with the Clippers, it's a coin toss, right? And so like that'll be something that's interesting to watch. I think those teams that are really good down the stretch in close games are the teams that have great success in the playoffs, right? And I think that's really something that the Clippers haven't been entirely tested on this year. I think they've either soundly beat people or they have lost by a good margin.
That was a good take. That 10 points thing was good.
I mean, it's great. I mean, you look at it, the OKC is 43-3 in 10-point games, right? Obviously one of the best records in the NBA currently outside the Cavs, right? The next best teams in the West are the Nuggets at 28-13, the Grizzlies at 28-10, and then the Clippers are 4th at 25-13, right? Everybody else, the Rockets are 21-9. They haven't played in very many 10-point games of the season, but they are 8-5 in 3-point games. So it's like the Clippers can do it. I think the West, like we said, I think the rosters that are good in the West come out like they're supposed to. I think the rosters that are supposed to get put away in the West get put away like they're supposed to. So the West is always fun to watch because I think it's where you see more of your lower seeds find success. I think I would say the same with the East. It's always fun to see which East roster is like a thorn in the side for a team, right? For years on end, it's always been Miami. Miami's been a thorn in the side, but I think that's more credit to Jimmy Butler as a player than it was to Miami Heat rosters. But then again, Jimmy Butler was hurt in 22-23, and we had some, they're not no names now, but at the time, some mediocre players run through the Celtics. So it's just, I think getting hot at the right time is really, really important. And so I think this backstretch for the Clippers will be really, will give us a really good idea of how well they can match up.
Yeah, I agree. Anything you want to add on top of that, Cam?
I'm sorry about that. As far as where we are on, I had
Clippers being a threat in the West.
I just like I say, I agree with Solomon. They're getting hot at the right time. Will you be able to sustain that in the playoffs? I don't know. I just like I say, I don't really change my take. After the win last night against the Cavs, just because the NBA anybody can win any night. I just don't see it in in the Clippers. They got it on paper. If this was like 5 years ago, Kawhi, James with a nice big with Norman Powell. Man, but I just don't see him being a legit threat this playoff run. Sorry to my Clipper fans.
I think it's hard. It's really the crazy thing is that, like, all right, so you want to go and look at the East, right? It's the Cavs and the Celtics by miles, right? The next closest team is the Knicks, and that's 7 games. If you take the Knicks out of it, the next closest team is 12. You go to the West, it's the Thunder by miles, 12 games, and then everybody is separated 2 through 8 by 5 games, right? Like the Western Conference could at any point totally flip on its head. The Clippers could somehow sneak into the 2 seed. Like if everybody were to fall apart, the Clippers could end up 2 seed. The Rockets could fall to the 8 seed. Like anything, I think can happen. There's enough games. We have 14 games left for most of these teams that the Western Conference standings can completely flip on its head.
Yeah, I agree with that. Looking at the records here, Golden State's 8-2 in their last 10. Minnesota 8-2 in their last 10. OKC 9-1. Houston 7-3. The Clippers are 7-3, and then you got the Houston on a 7-game win streak, Clippers on a 4-game win streak, Boston, OKC both on a 3. Lakers just won 2 in a row, back in 6-4 in their last 10. I mean, this is a whole lot of W's on the West side and a whole lot of L's on the East, and it's like kind of like, ooh, it's not. It's I'm looking at this, and the bottom of the East, the very, very bottom of the East, is back 40, and they're not eliminated. That's how bad the East is. In the West, the person is back 41.5. That's the Utah. They're on a 10-game losing streak. 0 in their last 10, and they're eliminated. But the East, somehow, some way, the Washington is not eliminated yet. That's embarrassing as a league on the East. At some point, they were talking about this in the NFL a little bit today. The Vikings brought out that they were like, oh, well, it's good that if you win your division, you get an automatic playoff spot. But then after that, all the teams should then be registered in the playoffs according to their seeding. And I think if you're going to do that, then there's no point of doing the playoffs. There's no point at all. The divisions, there's no point at all. Of course, the Vikings feel that way because they got screwed over going from, that great record and then going to the 5th seed. But looking at the NBA, I think that is a fantastic idea. Put the top 16 in and let them ball. I cannot for the death of me keep looking at this lopsided where the West is fighting for their lives, where there's so much playoff talent that I think the 8, 9, and 10 of the West could easily be 5, 6, maybe 4 in the East. Y'all think the same way?
I think the 7 through 10 in the West are still fighting for 7 through 10 in the East. I don't think it changes all that much. I would say that the top seeds in the East tend to slip up against the lower seeds more, where I think the West, they handle their business better against those lower seeded teams. But like the talent in the East is no slouch by like any margin, right? I think the Magic can play really well against some of the 7 through 10 seeds. I think the Hawks can play really well against some of those teams. Heat with Jimmy, 100% could play really well 7 through 10. The Bulls, I don't really think so anymore. I mean, they're an interesting team. I think they're probably like one of the few, but like I don't think the Mavericks are beating anybody in the East right now, right? Unless like everybody else also gets hurt. The Kings, who knows with the Kings? It's basically the Bulls. That's basically what the Kings are.
Fair.
I think the Clippers are better than an 8 seed. I would agree with that. I think Timberwolves with healthy are also probably a top 4 seed in the West. I think there's definitely some stronger teams, but I think it's more so the fact that the West has been dealing with injuries more than the East has, and so the teams that really should be in the top portion of the Western Conference Final are making ground late, right? I don't think it's so much lopsided. It's just the fact that injuries, I think, have played more of a factor in the Western Conference. You had Kawhi, who's missed a good majority of time for the Clippers. You have Julius Randle, who's missed time for the Timberwolves. Sabonis has been on and off the court for the Kings. The Mavs, we all know what's going on with the Mavs. Steph missed some game for the Warriors. You had injury issues with the Grizzlies again this year. For the most part, they've been healthy for the most portion of the year. The Lakers are having issues right now with LeBron. Like, there's been a lot more injury stuff. Not there hasn't been injury stuff, I think, in the East, but I think it's been less prevalent than the West has.
Yeah. Cam, anything?
And some people can argue, the defending champs are in the East, so is it the East just harder than the West? Nah, I'm not gonna say that just because we're being realistic, but I mean the defending champs are coming out the East right now. So like I said, there's some talent on that side that can compete with the West. But it is very embarrassing. Like I said, I kind of agree with the format to put the top teams in and just ride like that. But like I say, I like the play-in as well, just because some teams fell off due to injuries, and by the time they got that team back and pick up full steam, it wasn't enough time left to get a playoff seed, but they got a play-in seed. You know what I mean? So like I said, we'll just see how the playoff pans out. I believe now I want to change my sleeper in the West to the Timberwolves, only because you're right. I mean, these are guys who went to the conference finals last year. I know they had a little different squad, just a one-player swap. But if Julius Randle could stay healthy, I think y'all watch out for that, just because we've seen Ant be able to perform in the playoffs. Julius Randle is a guy we know can do nice things, and if they can be consistent, they got a squad to compete.
All right, watch this. Here's what I'll say. I'm gonna say yes. The answer will be yes or no. I'm just gonna leave it open. So, for example, next year, if Cleveland is healthy, do they get better? Yes or no?
Next year, if Cleveland is healthy, do they get better?
That's an example question. So they're healthy now.
Okay.
So yes, right? No, they don't, because they're already healthy. They would have to add pieces to get better, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If the Brooklyn Nets get better, they're healthy next year, are they better?
Better, yes.
The 23 and 46 Brooklyn Nets, if they are healthy next year, do the Brooklyn Nets get better?
No, they have no star.
Okay.
No direction.
It's too many teams. It's too many teams. So if you don't know, don't say nothing. But if you know, it's yes or no. We're going to keep it moving. The Washington, if Washington is healthy, do they get better next year?
Yes.
Wait. Breaking news. I'm sorry to cut you off, Big Dog. Jokic and Murray will not play tonight against the Lakers.
Ooh, boy.
No, to answer your question, the Washington Wizards do not get better if healthy next year. Like I say, it's the same thing. The injured guys are no big factor guys or big pieces. They get no better next year.
When we're talking about getting better, we're just talking about being better than their record currently.
Yes, so they probably get yes, they'll get better by 5 games, by 3 games. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So wait, we'll put a pin in this. Do y'all think since the breaking news, do y'all think that it's bigger if the Lakers lose tonight without Jokic and Murray, or it's okay that the Lakers are supposed to win, or it's more of a problem that they lose?
They should definitely not lose tonight. If they lose tonight, it's not like, oh my God, it's the end of the world, but if they lose tonight, I definitely think it starts to give the Nuggets more confidence, even though the Lakers were winning the series this year so far. The Nuggets more confident. Because, like, man, we beat y'all. Even though y'all don't have LeBron, y'all have a mainly healthy team. This is y'all future in the next 2 years when LeBron's gone, and y'all can't even beat us injured. So this is more of a future thing than a now thing. I think if they lose, they both stay the same seed.
It doesn't, in terms of overall impact on the standings, it doesn't make a difference, but I think this game is definitely bigger for the Lakers. It opens the door for everybody else in the West, but I think if the Nuggets find a way to win this, it just kind of proves that they still have that championship grit in them.
Yep. So we know how Westbrook plays in the West Coast. So Chicago the Charlotte Hornets, do they get better, fully healthy? Yes or no?
Is Melo healthy this year?
No, that's circus basketball. They might circus basketball, man. I love Melo. It's a clown show.
I would say yes. They missed so much time from LaMelo and from Mark Williams.
Mikal. So yeah, I'll say they get better 6 games.
Miller. Yeah, I would say they can. Yeah,
6 games. I'm not talking about 20. I'm talking about like maybe 6-7 games, which means they go from 17-51 to 22 and 47. Whopping. Okay, The Philadelphia 76ers, which reminder, they are trading Paul George in the offseason. Do they get better next season when they get healthy? Yes or no?
If he plays a full season, the Sixers are a playoff team. Yes.
Okay. Cam? I'm just going to say... Go ahead, Cam.
I'm going to say yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. So I'm still going, by the way. Toronto, if they're fully healthy, Dick, Brandon Ingram, don't laugh at his name. The whole gang, do they get better? Are they a better team?
No.
Exactly. So I just went through 5 teams. And we could probably go all the way. What? Atlanta, do they get better fully healthy? Miami, do they get better fully healthy? Like, there's nothing for it. There's nothing for those arguments. Now, let's go to the West. Dallas. Does Dallas get better if they're fully healthy?
Yeah, I don't know. I actually have no idea the answer. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say no.
So, if Dallas...
next... It is AD and Kyrie. Yeah. I'm forgetting about AD and Kyrie. Yeah, I would say yes.
Are the Clippers' record better if they're fully healthy?
Yes.
Is the Sacramento's record better if they're fully healthy?
I would say they're about the same, honestly.
Is San Antonio better fully healthy?
Yes.
Is New Orleans better if fully healthy?
No.
Okay. So, wait, wait, time out. I feel what you're saying, but wait. Cam, do you think New Orleans is better fully healthy?
Yes. Zion is. You gotta forget the only Zion season we seen fully healthy
was in Duke.
Zion was we seen Zion play. Well, I'm not gonna say full season, but when he played 57 plus games, was his All-Star year. He averaged 25, 8, and 4 at 5.
Yeah.
Zion was healthy. It's dangerous, bro. He's not no LeBron.
He's dangerous, but they don't have Brandon Ingram anymore.
That's true. But I mean, so we'll say Zion adds 5-10 wins. Fair?
Yeah, probably.
So barely.
But with Zion playing, they've lost 3 in a row.
Yeah. They don't win with Zion there, but in a full season, he probably adds 5 or 10 games to their totals. Sure. And remember, DeJounte Murray wasn't playing the whole season either. It was literally C.J. McCollum and a bag of potato chips. And Trey Murphy just got injured. So look at that team has like starter injuries. Brandon Ingram didn't play the whole season, but he's not there anymore. So Utah obviously doesn't move the needle. They're getting Cooper Flag.
Utah doesn't matter what they get. It's gonna be a while. No.
Yeah, Markkanen was a complete flop for them. Wow. Phoenix does not get better fully healthy. No. They are healthy. They don't have a center.
Portland also doesn't get better fully healthy.
Portland does not get better fully healthy. Scoot Henderson was a flop. That derailed the progress. Now, Anthony Simons has been off and on. And Sharp is the truth. That boy is up and coming.
That brother can ball.
He can ball. Memphis gets better fully healthy. Denver gets better fully healthy. Houston clearly gets better when fully healthy. Sengun has missed like 15 games. Fran Vliet and them missed some time too. The Lakers get better as well fully healthy. Minnesota gets better fully. Golden State, the Clippers, the whole West has been dealing with injuries and gets better fully healthy, except the bottom. Huh? You know what I mean?
Which is what I think goes back to my point. As I'm saying is like the reason that there's still teams that haven't been eliminated. Obviously, the Pelicans are now finally eliminated, but like the fact that the West can compete on this scale, like with those injuries, that's I think why the standings are so close. But like realistically, if these teams are healthy, I think you see a different look at the records. I don't think these gaps are as close because I think some of these matchups, these teams lose a little bit more against those teams. Whereas the East is the 1 through 8 seeds in the East. Like they're all, for the most part, fairly healthy. So they handle business because their starters are playing. Right. And I think that's why you're kind of seeing this situation. Obviously, the bottom seeds still haven't been eliminated, but like it's tough. Like the East is kind of eating itself alive. Like the Pacers and Bucks take games off each other. The Pistons take games off the Celtics and the Cavs and the Bucks. Like I think this is what happens when fully healthy teams play against each other versus when you don't have fully healthy teams play against each other.
You know what I noticed? What confuses me? You know, the East has been dog water, except for about 3 teams in the West. Been, fondling to trying to get a top pick. But the Warriors was an anomaly, and they got lucky. And they drafted Wiseman anyway. But the East, I feel, is substantially younger as a conference than the West in terms of their star talent and core players. But I still am not convinced that the East will be able to somehow flip this narrative that the West is the best within the next 5 or 10 years. I still feel like the West will still reign supreme. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe the Devin Booker trade to the Pistons would change that. I don't know. Look, Cam, go ahead.
Let me throw something at you. What if say, obviously I'm a Celtics fan. I like the Celtics to win, but let's say the Cavs and the Celtics are the win this year too, right? And then it happens again the year after this, right? Is it truly that the East is that bad, or is it just that the best team out of the East is the best team in basketball?
Yes, that 2 things can be true at the same time. First of all, there's no one in the league better than the Celtics. It's Celtics and then a margin, and then everyone else, right? Let's just be honest. I think for about half of the league, I'm an Eagles fan, born and raised into it. Shout out to my pops and all my family in Jersey. Listen, I'm an Eagles fan, and there's no point in dragging my nuts for something everybody knew. 5 games into the season last year, everyone knew the Eagles was the best team in football, and yet we still watched 16 games. 17 games, right? So the only problem is that the Eagles had Saquon 17 games. If the Celtics were playing Porzingis and everyone on that team every game of the season, there would be no point of First Take and First Things First and all these shows in the morning talking about sports, because everybody will know the Celtics are the clear favorite number 1. Right now, what's happening is Shea's going to win MVP. Jokic might. Luka getting traded to the Lakers. The Cavs are this and that. And all it does is changing the odds so that when old money goes to put their money in Vegas for the Celtics, they win a little bit because they're not number 1. That is the only reason why the Celtics are not number 1 across the board on everything. No one in the league right now is supposed to beat a healthy Celtics. They have everything. They have 2 bigs that can stretch the floor and protect the paint and play back to the basket. They have 2 perimeter guards that can facilitate, shoot, and pass. They have 2 perimeter wings that can dribble, shoot, and pass. One of those wings can sit down and play defense. Granted, he can't use his left hand, but he can sit and play defense. They have everything you need. Not to mention the 3 players, because remember, playoff basketball is 8 players max, 7 players probable, 6 players for sure. All 3 people on the bench can shoot from 30. And I'm not saying 1 for 5. I'm saying 4 for 5, 6 for 11 from 30. So there's not a roster right now constructed without a little bit of faith, without a little bit of chance, without a little bit of possibility, and some injuries that can beat the Celtics. That's the truth. Does that mean that every other team under is substantially worse? No. That does not mean that the East is better. That just means that you have one team that's really, really good, another team that's close, and then the rest of them. The Lakers are better than the Knicks. The Nuggets are better than the Knicks. The Golden State Warriors, I feel, on paper right now, are not better than the Knicks, but how they're playing are, right? Yeah. Houston Rockets, same thing. And that's the 3rd seed in the East. And then there's a gap. There's a huge gap between the 3rd seed and the East. Well, in the West, it's not that much of a gap until you get to the play-in, where it's like, I don't know. This could be the better team. I don't know, right? Other than fan speaking, right? So I think with that argument, no, I don't. Just because the Celtics and the Cavs are that good doesn't mean the East still isn't substantially worse than the West.
Do you think that the teams in the East playing against the 2 better teams in basketball right now makes them better than some of the teams in the West, though?
No. Let's look at the records on that, actually, because I want to make sure that I'm not talking out of my ass. Golden State's 40-29. In their conference, they are 22-20, which means they are 18-9 against the other conference, right? That's just one team. We're gonna do another one. I'm trying to go out like a mid-tier. Mm-hmm. Lakers.
I have the percentages, but I don't have the out of conference stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to look. I'm just trying to grab some. Memphis is 40-30. Conference is 28-18, which means they are what? 22-12. Is that what that is? 22. I don't know. Something like that.
29-13 in conference. How do I find this?
You just gotta subtract. You gotta subtract the conference from the main.
Oh, I see what you did.
Yeah. And either way, those are all winning records. Those are all winning records against non-conference. You know what I'm saying? So, oh wow, congratulations. You put up 30 wins against the Utah Jazz and the New Orleans Pelicans. Great, dude. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I will say, in terms of bottom tier talent, at least it's fun to turn on the Wizards. It's fun to turn on the Hornets. It's fun to turn on the Brooklyn Nets. You got Cam Thomas. You got LaMelo. You got Jordan Poole. It's fun. It is not fun to watch Utah. And I like Keontae George. I like them boys, but it is abysmal. It's painful. It's embarrassing. It's not basketball.
I would rather put together a puzzle than watch Utah play basketball.
So yeah, I mean, Chicago has a weird young group of basketball players that will never win a ring together, but it's beautiful to watch. They play basketball, and they have to play basketball how that roster is constructed. If Lonzo plays a full season, I think it's a little different. But also, with Josh Giddey, it's like that roster is construed to play that system. That's how it's built.
Man, try to say
that. But and I feel like you're right. I feel like Chicago definitely got a lot of teams where. A lot of players on that roster where if those guys were to go elsewhere on contenders, they would be a great piece. If Giddey goes to somewhere that's a team that's in the run right now, he would be a great addition. Lonzo Ball healthy would be great anywhere. Just with the facilitator he is and the defender he is. I know he's still working to get back fully himself, but he looked good in his return with those little 18 minutes of games. You know what I mean? Kobe White anywhere would be a great third option. You know. So yeah, they got a team, and even the old dude, the white dude that's coming on Mazada or whatever his name is.
The dunk contest dude.
Yeah, he looked good in his play. Like he's actually been playing like a nice bench player. You know what I'm saying? If he was to come off a contender team. So the Bulls are not terrible to watch. A lot of young guys, a lot of those guys would be great. They were on a contending team, but those are not. Also, they're not guys that you're rebounding. I mean, that you're rebuilding around. You have no centerpiece on that team. That you're not going to construct your roster around Kobe White. You would literally be.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I can't say that word in 2025, but you would be slow to do that.
No, that's a good point. Hold on. I like what you just did right there. So let's do this. East versus West. I kind of want to put you two against each other. Solomon, you're gonna play the East, and then Cam, you're gonna play the West. I want you to think about the stars from 30 and under. Now, it does not have to be a superstar, but it can be a star. 30 and under, one from each team if you want to, and which side has the best hope of the future. For example, Jamal Murray is 28 years old. He is under 30, so he is technically considered a star in the West, right? Whereas someone like LaMelo Ball is, you know what I mean? So, like, try to, you know, see, I don't know. If not, then we can just do like a group thing where it's like we can just throw some names for some teams and see how it is. But I think that's a great point. Chicago, I mean, they don't have a star. They don't have a superstar at all. Where you have someone like Atlanta has Trae Young, you know, Paulo in Orlando, Luka in LA, you know?
Yeah. See, like, so I'll pop it off if you're going to. So at the West, I'm just go down the list of from 1 through whatever many teams they got.
30 and under. Under 30.
Yeah, OKC. You got Shea. You got that whole roster. Shea. Everybody besides Alex Caruso.
You can say max 2 people from one team. That's better.
Okay. Well, on that one you got okay. So you got Shea and Jalen Williams or in Chet Holmgren. Then you got the number 2 seed Rockets. You got Jalen Green and Sagam. Denver, you got Jamal Murray. Yeah, that's how I want to go with. Lakers, you got Luka, Austin Reeves. Memphis, you have Jaren Jackson and John Morant. Golden State, nobody. Under 30, sadly, that's a star or anything right now. So that's like a team that misses out. Minnesota, you have. I'm gonna go with myself, Jaden McDaniels and Anthony Edwards. Just because I like the 3-and-D type players always. Clippers, nobody. Kings. I mean, Monk is I wouldn't consider him a star. He just got in the starting role this year. Zach LaVine is under 30, so Zach LaVine. So it's a future there, kinda, but not really, because he's on the back end of his 20s. Then you got Dallas. It's a future there for the next 2 years. If they don't win now, or if they don't get healthy and get another guy besides Kyrie now, they don't win. And besides Kyrie, I don't mean like, oh yeah, we got it. But like I said, I'm sorry, no Kyrie-led team at the number 1 option has won. If they can sneak and get, or if they can get a guy almost equivalent to Kyrie and get basically 2 strong number 2 with an AD that's also a 1/2 guy, they become dangerous now. But none of those guys are under 30. Suns, no. Portland, Simons. I'm going to go with Simons, and I'm going to go with I can't think of old dude's name. Number 17, Sharp. And the Spurs, I'm going to go with Wemby. I think Wemby might end up a top 10 player all time if healthy. So I don't think the East has more of a future than the West.
You still got New Orleans and Utah.
New Orleans, you got Trey. Yeah, you got Trey Murphy, who I love. That's a guy who started off as a 3-and-D player, but he's showing you guys that he is more than just a 3 guy on the offensive side of the ball. He can also rebound for you, pretty good, and his playmaking is evolving. It's getting better each year. And then Zion. If Zion stays healthy, bro, he is a 2025 Zach Randolph. They're like, what? So he's not no damn LeBron, but he's a Zach Randolph mixed with LeBron. He can pass the ball. He can make plays. He can control the post, and his footwork is smooth, but he just has to stay. He's super strong. He just has to stay healthy. Just has to stay healthy. Utah, I like Keontae George. I've never seen him becoming an all-star or anything like that. Lauri Markkanen, I think he definitely should have went somewhere else. He was balling for a couple of years there, and then, I mean, it's hard to stay consistent or stay relevant on a losing team. But I like Keontae George. Colin Sexton is a no. We've already seen his Cleveland project. So, yeah, I think the West is set, I think, as far as the future goes.
Yeah, so Utah's the youngest team in the NBA by a wide margin than the Spurs. You forgot Stephon Castle on the Spurs. I'll just throw that name out there. The Clippers have Zubac. The Clippers have Zubac, Ben Simmons, and Amir Coffey. They're all under 30. I know Ben Simmons isn't like really like whatever, but he's a star technically. Like he is. Sacramento, I don't know. Dallas, yeah, star, not really. What about the East? What we got?
Well, you got the Cavs. That's Donovan Mitchell. Trying to see if they have really anybody else. You could put DeAndre Hunter in there. I wouldn't mind having that kind of conversation. But then Jared Allen too, right? So you got 3 guys that are all under 27 right there. Now, obviously, you got the Celtics. You have Tatum. You have Brown. You have Pritchard too.
Two max.
Knicks. I would throw Cat and Brunson in there. They're about 27, 28 right now. Pacers, obviously, you have Halliburton. He's 25, 26 right now. Bucks are the old roster in the East. They don't really have anybody. Like, Giannis is 30. Like, that is the Bucks' future right there. He's 30. Pistons, you got Cade Cunningham. You got one of the Thompson twins.
I see her.
Then you have the Hawks. You got Trey. I mean, that is the Hawks roster right there. The Magic. You have Banchero, Cole Anthony. You can put in there too. There's probably some better players outside of those two, but Banchero I think is great. Under 25, if not 25. Bulls. You got Josh. Alonzo, technically speaking, it's just kind of hard to see with him and his injury stuff. But all under 27. The Heat, you have Tyler Hero. I think Bam is finally over 30. I'm not sure though. 27. So no, still got some time there too. And then let's go to the Raptors. You got Brandon Ingram now. I'm not really sure what else is on that Raptors roster. Tyrese Maxey, the 76ers. Technically, Embiid, I think, is also under 30. The Nets, you got Cam Thomas. Claxton, too. I think Claxton's a pretty decent center. Then you go to the Hornets. Obviously, you got LaMelo. You got Williams, too. And then the Wizards, Sarr, I think, is probably the best shot on that entire roster. I think the interesting thing about the East is that all of the stars are in the 25 to 26 range. And coming into their primes, are already in their primes performing.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead, Cam.
I think you guys are missing it on the Raptors. I think that roster right there has a chance to be crazy. Here's why. So you have all these guys, like you said, that are under 27 years old.
I mean, I know Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes, yeah, great. But like
RJ Barrett. No,
okay, RJ. Okay, go ahead.
So RJ Barrett, right? Brandon Ingram, Emmanuel Quickly, Oche Oboje, all these Kelly, all these dudes, right? And none of these guys, think about this, are eligible for a max contract. So you have a lot of salary cap to where you don't have to get rid of none of those guys.
Who's going to Canada?
No, this is the only thing though. That's the only thing about getting somebody. But if they can somehow, some way, and money makes you talk, if they can somehow, some way get a supermax contract guy and put him around those guys, Raptors immediately become very, very dangerous, bro. Very, very dangerous. With that young core that they have right there.
Okay, look at the positions. Look at the position they have. They have R.J. Barrett, who is a point guard, shooting guard, can't use his right hand. Scotty Barnes, who is a facilitating forward, he needs to have the ball in his hands. Brandon Ingram, who plays off the elbow. You have Poto. You have Grady. What position? Who are they? Who are they?
Yeah, so Dickens doesn't have to be a starter. Dickens is good. Damn.
Hey, yo.
Well, no, hey, man, y'all know how I'm rocking. But Grady is good. But he doesn't have to be a starter. You can go out there and get you a wing or a forward. You can even go get you a nice center if you need to, a super max center. But that roster, so listen, you don't have to, RJ Barrett, it doesn't have to be a ball dominant guy. Like I say, he can control the ball, but he doesn't even have to be a ball dominant guy to be effective. And he's a great defender. So is Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes, he plays better with the ball in his hand. So if every team has two ball handlers, right? Jokic Murray, Brian Luca, Brian Reeves, Luca Reeves. All these other teams have ball carriers too. So you can put Scotty Barnes controlling the ball. He's a great facilitator without any turnover problem right now, as of now. But a superstar guy on that team is dangerous, bro. So the only thing is being able to get a superstar guy out there this offseason. But, bro, like, if you can get a constant, for sure, superstar guy around Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickly, Grady Dick, and R.J. Barrett.
Why is Emmanuel Quickly getting $32 million? What in the world am I looking at right now?
Exactly. He has the nastiest contract, bro. Out of all of them.
I think the biggest difference between the East and the West is that the West has more established superstars versus the East has up-and-coming superstars outside of a couple of the guys. And I think in 3-4 years, I think the script kind of flips, right? Because like the West does have young talent, but I don't think it's as prevalent as it is in the East.
Okay, that's crazy. I'm sorry, that's insane. Okay, we did an argument on here on the pod. Who's the face of the NBA? Who is the face? You cannot say the same player twice. We did a magazine cover, and all 5 names that I heard were in the West. There's no one in the East. I said Paulo. Please, Paulo, please. Ant is in the West. SGA is in the West. Ja Morant is in the West. Wemby is in the West. And out of the 4 of them, ain't not one of them getting outplayed by nobody in the East for the man at all. You can't convince me. Other than Paulo, maybe Cade is not. He's not.
We're not talking about the man. We're talking about just overall strength of a conference.
Fair.
I think is kind of what we're talking about here. Because sure, the man is not always is going to be in one conference or the other, right? It's not going to be like. And sure, there's more possibilities of the man being in the West, but past those 4 guys, right? The East has a guy on every roster to an extent, right? Someone that can be a superstar or will probably be a superstar, right? The OKC, it's Shea, right? He's going to be that guy. I think Chet kind of gets overshadowed by that, right? You have the Thompson twin in Houston, Luka, obviously, in Los Angeles, Ja in Memphis. Warriors don't have anybody. And in Minnesota, Clippers don't have anybody. Sacramento's kind of struggling in that department too. The Mavericks don't have anybody. The Suns don't have anybody. Trailblazers, you could say Sharp. I would be that next closest person. Spurs, obviously Wemby. Zion for the Pelicans, and who knows what's going on.
Well, you know the keys. The keys are going to Kuminga when Curry retires, right?
Yeah. But like, is Kuminga a superstar though?
No, we said star. We said star. We said star, not a superstar. Just something.
Okay, you did the star. Kuminga's not even really there, but this is his first year, like for real, like getting that. I don't not Kuminga. I don't know. It's Kuminga, man. He's like that's how you describe him. He's a toss-up. Kuminga is a toss-up right now. Does he have potential to be a star? Hell yeah. I don't think he's a star. You know what I'm saying? When Stephen Curry was out those games, he had amount of time to prove himself or put himself in the spotlight, and he didn't. It's Kuminga, man, and he's gotten the shot attempts he's asked for, that he was complaining about. He's gotten the opportunity that he asked for, and he has not thrived this year. The numbers are probably up just because the minutes are up, but he has not thrived, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Speaking of superstars, man, Shohei Ohtani, he hit a home run, and I swear that was no different. That was no different than Gleyber Torres' home run. Look, I'm not gonna get started. But Shohei looked good. Okay.
Looked really good. Yeah.
Birdie looks good for the Cubs. Shout out the Yankees. Dansby Swanson doesn't look half bad. Flexing the leather pretty good, getting some good contact on the ball. Kike, of course, he's a streaky hitter. He looks like an all-star for 10 games, then looks like he shouldn't be on the MLB roster for another 15. It's just kind of how it works, right? So, looking at the past 2 games, Tokyo series, what are you thinking about the Cubs and Dodgers so far? Remember, the Dodgers did not have Mookie or Freeman.
I mean, you forgot my boy Sosa.
Talk about Sammy?
No, Sosa from the White Sox. He hitting good starting off on the year.
Huh?
Who?
Sosa. Lean Sosa for the White Sox. I thought you were talking about guys who started off hitting good for the year.
I mean, only 2 teams have played so far.
The White Sox. Yeah, he played for the White Sox.
The White Sox haven't played in the Tokyo series. The Tokyo series with the Dodgers and the Cubs. Are you talking about spring ball?
Yeah.
Oh no, we wouldn't talk about spring ball anymore. We're talking about
season opener.
Yeah, the season opener that happened that past 2 days. I'm still trying to figure out this Sosa guy. Who is Sosa?
Lean Sosa.
While we figure out who that is, I think the series went pretty much exactly how I expected it to go. Dodgers didn't look like they really skipped a beat, and it was pretty on par that once the Cubs pitchers couldn't really get them any further, that they were going to run into trouble, and the big bad Dodgers just broke down the starting pitchers. And I mean, Imanga had 5 walks on game 1. I think Steele did a little bit better, but I think that bullpen's a pretty serious issue for the Cubs. And we're talking about Dodgers lineup that's missing 2 of the most important pieces in that lineup, and it didn't matter. Yeah, it's nice to have Kike kind of do some stuff for you, but Max Muncy and Will Smith grinded out some at-bats. I think on opening day, Max Muncy and Will Smith both saw 30-plus pitches in all of their at-bats, which is crazy. So it's a tough lineup to face, in all honesty, but it went pretty much how we expected it to. It was nice to see Kyle Tucker finally get his first hit for the Cubs. Nice little Oppo double off the wall. I think that's really something you want to see out of a hitter early on, just being able to take the ball the other way. But pitching is going to be an issue in Chicago again.
Yeah, so he is talking about Lenyn Sosa, the 25-year-old, 5'11", right-handed hitter that plays third base for the White Sox. This is his face. Okay. Well, we'll be looking out for him this season, man. Look, I got a couple concerns about the game that I watched this morning. I'm not really convinced on Rocky's pitching command. Look, he started off, he threw 3 super hot caliente fastballs. 100 off the ripper. Perfect. But the only thing that was inside of the strike zone was the fastball. So, I mean, like, obviously that's going to be a concern with the Cubs pitching. But I think the bigger concern with the Cubs is going to be getting the ball out of the infield. Them boys, it appears like they got no pop in their bat right now. I know it's 2 games into the season, but that's something that I would not be surprised if come July we're circling that exact same nod on extra base hits on RISP that the Cubs aren't getting it done. To concern that, Steele did a better job in terms of not walking batters, but the reason why he wasn't walking batters is because he gave up a 5. He was getting tagged. He's getting tagged. I think he had 5 earned runs, 5 hits. It was a 5 all the way around for him. That was his lucky number. Let me look just to confirm, just to make sure. But that is something that, of course, you're kind of shaking it off, getting the rust off, or whatever you want to call it. No, the Dodgers definitely didn't skip a beat, and I don't think they're nowhere near what they can be. Unfortunately. So that's just that. 5 hits, 5 runs, 7 walks. 7 walks, which is great as a team. But I'm more concerned for the Cubs than I am for the Dodgers. I was expecting more from the Dodgers, honestly. I was expecting them to come out there and be I'm talking about hats upside down backwards in the first inning just to do it. With this we need to prove something, but they had Inoue the boxer come out first game and say a couple words, Soy Sasaki, and said what's up to Shohei Ohtani, and then Shohei Ohtani came out there and did marginal. And in the second game, of course, Shohei's motivated, and he goes out there and rips one, rips another, and rips another. And it's okay, well, there's Shohei. But the rest of them, it's kind of okay, cool. All right, fine. Right? But
really, look at that Dodgers lineup. You're talking about your 2 of your biggest bats and 2 of the best players in baseball are not in it.
Yep.
And they still find a way to win, and comfortably too. If you look at that series, there was never a point where you're oh, the Dodgers could lose this. They were very comfortably in command of those games, in the driver's seat for the entirety of it. I think the nice thing about the Dodgers is that even though Sasaki didn't have a stellar performance, right? He electric fastball. Obviously, I think season opener, it's not spring training. It's a different atmosphere. You're back home. You really want to show something. I think he's putting a little bit more on it, trying to be a little bit more of a go-getter there. I think he'll kind of find the command. I think with guys that throw that hard and they're 2-pitch guys, 3-pitch guys, right? He's got an elite splitter. You start filling up the zone with a fastball, that splitter becomes even more dangerous, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like he hasn't pitched against MLB talent. He did it in the World Baseball Classic 2 years ago. So the talent is there, but even in the off chance that your starter doesn't really have all their stuff, you have to go through this gauntlet that they have in relief pitchers. And it's it doesn't even matter if you get to the starter. If you don't get 7 runs on the starter, you're kind of cooked. And that's when we're talking about with the fact that the Dodgers did not have Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, Luis Garcia, which is one of the best pitchers in MLB a couple years ago, he came in right after rookie, and that's insane. And to mention that splitter, I guess the new pitch we're going to see this season is the kick change. That's what everybody's fascinated about in the spring ball. But the biggest thing, I want to say his numbers really fast before I say that, actually. 25 strikes out of 56 pitches. That was Sasaki's numbers. And that splitter dropped. He threw 1. It was eye level. And then it bounced. I mean, it's insane, right? Yeah. But the biggest thing that I'm really disappointed in from watching so much spring ball, I didn't see any of this.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that in spring ball, and I wish that got brought into the MLB. I know that OG fans probably wouldn't like that, and I think I would rather have that than a 14-second pitch clock, because I mean, let's make pitchers throw in a strike zone. Let's challenge them and give that challenge to the runners, their batters. I think that was a great addition, and I think that should be something that should be implemented. That just something that could clean up a lot of the game. Challenge these guys to throw strikes. Just my personal opinion, though. Yeah, especially with these 3-strike pitchers, fastball, sinker, splitter, fastball, slider, change. Challenge them to throw strikes, man. It's my thing.
I think the interesting thing with Japanese pitchers is that, for the most part, when they come over to the MLB, they are 2-pitch merchants, right? They excel at 2 things at an elite level, right? And to an extent, Yu Darvish was kind of the same way. Like, obviously, we now know Yu Darvish for having
18 pitches.
Damn kitchen sink. But like with Darvish, when he was first round in the league, when he was with the Rangers, it was fastball 12-6, and it was elite, right? Obviously, he had other things that complemented it, but those were the 2 things that he was really good at and he used a lot of, right? And I think this is something that we're seeing a lot with just young pitchers in general, right? Let's not forget that Sasaki's like, what, 20, 21, right? Paul Skeens is a guy that was a 2-pitch pitcher coming out of college, right? And he is now adding 2 more pitches on top of his four-seam, his swerve or slider or whatever you want to call it, his Vulcan change. He's now adding a cutter and a 2-seam, right? And so I think as these guys get older and they get more comfortable, they start adding more of those things. But it's not easy to like add pitches to an arsenal, right? It takes a long time to master a pitch, have control over it, and it be an elite level, right? Like, it's a lot different, like, coming from college or high school. Like, when you add a pitch at those levels, it doesn't need to be elite, right? You can get by with it being okay. I'm talking like 30, 40 grade, right? When an MLB pitcher in a starting rotation adds a pitch, it has to be a 60, 70 grade pitch, because otherwise it is borderline useless.
Yeah, so 2 things, flipping to being a batter, right? You get to the MLB by hitting fastballs. You stay in the MLB by hitting off speed. As a pitcher, in the high school level, it's numbers, right? And the college level, it's can you hit the strike zone. In the MLB level, at the elite MLB level, it's tunneling all of your pitches. Everything needs to look exactly the same coming out of your hand as long as it can. Or these guys, you won't even get through 10 pitches, and everyone in the entire box and the entire dugout knows exactly what you're pitching and how you're pitching it. And that's when you see these ugly games where they give up 15, an infinite. There's an infinity logo because they're like, what's going on? Then they looking at their pitching and they're like, I was tipping my pitches. So that's the hardest part about adding pitches to your arsenal is I need to get comfortable enough. I need to get smooth enough. I need to be able to channel this enough to where they're not seeing this as a different pitch halfway through the plate. That's probably a cool little key for people who aren't like baseball knowers out there and baseball watchers.
Yeah, I think that it was great. Obviously, waking up at 5:00 was rough to watch the games. Thursday cannot come around any sooner. But I think if you're the Cubs, like, obviously it's never it's too early in the season to like sound the sirens. Yeah. But I think off that excerpt, if you're talking about coming out of the National League and you're assuming that you're going to have to play the Dodgers in a 7-game series to get to the World Series, your pitching is not in the place that it needs to be, considering usually that pitchers are generally ahead to start the season off, right? And it just did not seem like it was really there for the Cubs, right? And their bullpen was okay. I think their bullpen was okay. Like, it wasn't terrible. But if your bullpen has a good day, but your starting pitcher has a bad day, it kind of nets itself out if your bullpen's not elite, and especially if your pitcher's giving up 5-7 runs in their start.
Yeah, I would say about the Cubs, 2 things. First thing, you got to get through the Dodgers to get to the World Series. I agree. Second thing, you're shooting for 85. You want to be just above 500. In the division that you're in, you are in one of 2 divisions to where you don't got to get to 90 wins to possibly win your division. Okay, that's your division, and it's the AL West. So, hey, man, 2 games down, not bad. Still got 160 to go, okay? The season is not over, Chicago. Plenty of time, at least for one Chicago. Plenty of time. So, yeah, try to get some. I think the biggest thing is pound the strike zone if you're a pitcher. Trust your defense to make plays. You have a fantastic outfield. You have a new and improved outfield. Trust your defense to make plays. And 2, trust your bats. Let them fly. You're there to swing the bat. You're in a division where you are going to have to score. Oh, my God, you're going to have to score because everything's going to matter in that division. You can't be 500. Speaking of 500, Aaron Rodgers, the only team that he can really go left right now is the Steelers. The Vikings kicked him to the curb and said, hey, we're going to keep JJ. A couple teams have wanted JJ, and, we don't want anybody to take JJ. By the way, we don't want Aaron Rodgers either. The Steelers have never been under 500 in Mike Tomlin's career. That was smooth how I did that, huh? They've never been under 500 in Mike Tomlin's career. What exactly is the plan for Pittsburgh and Aaron Rodgers? Is it like a stalling game where it's like Aaron Rodgers like, I'm going to wait until I have some power, then I'm going to sign? Or the Steelers like, if you don't sign now, we're going to go get somebody else? What's the deal there?
I think, my bad, before I have to jet off real quick.
Go ahead, man.
I think real fast, I think they get done with the Aaron Rodgers and Steelers deal within the next couple of days. They get that deal worked out. I don't believe either one went to go with each other, but now we have no choice. So usually stuff like that turns out, well, like a quarter flip. Either it's pretty and shit, somehow, some way we do way better than we expected, or it's ugly and by mid-season, I hate you, you hate me. Let's just get this thing over with. But I think it works out a little bit maybe for the Steelers. I definitely think it do. And I think they have a Steelers season where they go over 500.
This is tough because personally for me, I think the moment that Aaron left Green Bay, that was kind of it for his career. I'm not saying he's not a great quarterback. He's one of the great quarterbacks we've had in this era. He can still throw the rock. Like that's definitely a thing. We kind of saw that towards the end of the season last year. He was kind of getting it all together. But Aaron really thrives on that relationship between him and a receiver. And I just don't see that happening in Pittsburgh. They have talent. It's not the issue of the talent. It's just whether or not, if they're to sign him, if he can get on the same page with his receivers. And I think Aaron is a very unique quarterback. So you're going to have to get on his level to an extent, right? And I just don't know. I just don't see it panning out. I think that they probably still do make the deal because you need the best option, I think, as Pittsburgh. And he's probably still the best option on the table. I just don't know what that's going to look like.
Yeah, honestly, look, they said that Joe Milton is being looked at by like 5 teams. And the only one confirmed is the Cowboys as a backup. And with Jalen Milroe running a 4.3, and Jackson Dart's stock rising up to a possible top 10 pick, I think someone's pride is going to be put aside, or it's not going to get done. Look, I don't think the Steelers are going to pay Aaron Rodgers what he would ideally want. I also don't believe the Steelers will be able to give Aaron Rodgers the amount of power and control that he would want. He also wouldn't get the recognition and the commercials and the TV shows and all the beautiful things that come with the Aaron Rodgers package. That's just not the way in Pittsburgh. But there is something about what he would do to that culture if he signed his name on that paper that would instantly make all type of waves across the NFL that the Pittsburgh Steelers are for real. If they signed him and made one kind of maybe move on defense, You can't convince me that there's 3 teams in the AFC that can match up with them. And it's not to say that Aaron Rodgers cannot be elite. He just doesn't have to be. That's the problem. He has everything that he needs. He has a decent running back. They're probably going to draft another one. He has a decent offensive line, better than average. He has 2 receivers that can make their own way to get the ball, and a defense that will hold teams under points. That is everything that he needs. So
I think the interesting thing to key in on is that throughout his career, Rodgers has played for head coaches who have generally let him have his way.
Yeah, bent the knee.
And Mike Tomlin, I don't feel is that kind of head coach.
Absolutely.
I don't see it being that way. I think that speaks a lot to the testament. The fact that he has never had a losing season, right? He gains a lot of respect from his players, I think, for what he does as a head coach. I think he's a great head coach. He really is. But Rodgers is going to have to, for the first time in his career, kind of do what Tomlin says. And that's a dynamic that he's never really been a part of. And so I think if it were to work out, I think it speaks a testament to how hungry Rodgers is to finally win again. But if it doesn't work out, it's kind of like one of those things where yeah, you kind of saw that coming.
Yeah, I agree. And the biggest thing for Aaron Rodgers, I think he could put everything aside except for the last second play changing. That's just you would never expect that out of Peyton Manning, and you would never expect that out of Aaron Rodgers, 2 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. So if he can't go somewhere where he can't sit there at the line of scrimmage and make audibles, then he shouldn't go there at all, and that's probably why he probably will end up in Pittsburgh. Speaking of adjustments, I'm gonna say the Joe Burrow take. Because that's a controversial one. I think that 2 hours and a half. Wow, this is pretty good. I'm gonna give you 5. Let me look. I'm gonna look at everything, see stuff to pass on to the next episode, and yeah, I'll give you 5 minutes to go off for the whales if you want to talk about Mr. Gretzky or whatever. You know what I mean? 6 minutes on the clock. Here? Yeah.
All right. Well, fun fact: we talk about GOATs all the time in sports, right? We're pretty controversial across the board on who the GOATs are in each and every sport. And the only sport that we have ever unanimously across sports nerds agreed that there is a GOAT untouchable is Wayne Gretzky, because his record has never even remotely come close to being touched. Except for the fact that Ovechkin is now 7 goals away from tying and then breaking said record. I don't know how many more games are left in the NHL season, but I just one of the all-time greatest runs from a player. Obviously, Ovechkin will be an all-time great for sure. To even be in the same breath of air as Wayne Gretzky when it comes to that is, that's incredible. Something I'll have to keep an eye on for sure. Obviously, my Bruins absolutely suck, so I don't know how much of the NHL playoffs I will be watching. I did make a March Madness group with my brothers just for the fun of it. None of us know absolutely anything about college basketball, but we'll find out who comes out on top. I did pick Duke and Florida as the finals, with Duke winning it. But on the topic of March Madness, not that I know anything about it, but I did find an interesting stat and something that maybe we can chew on in a later episode. But in terms of teams that have won March Madness, there's a statistic that has been universal across the board, and it's a adjusted offense efficiency and adjusted defense efficiency. And there are teams that rank within 37th or better in both categories. And of those teams that currently fit that criteria, we have Duke, who's number 1 in both those categories, Florida as the second best option, Houston at 3, Auburn at 4, Tennessee at 5, Alabama at 6, Texas Tech at 7, Gonzaga at 8, Iowa State at 9, Wisconsin at 10, and Arizona at 11. So for all of my non-serious college basketball watchers, if you're putting together a bracket for The Office or whatever the case is, any of those 11 teams might be a good pick for a deep run in the March Madness bracket, much less a winner. So something to keep an eye on as well there. Other than that, I can't wait for baseball to kick off. Again, I say this every episode, but opening day is a week away almost. Yeah, it'll be a week tomorrow. I need baseball back so badly. I've been trying to keep an eye on college baseball. A&M sucks. They were ranked preseason number 1 and have totally just not had things go their way. But now that I'm not playing college baseball anymore, I keep more track of all the UOB stuff for sure. I don't really have much else to really nibble on. Draft will be sick. I don't know what the Patriots are going to do. There's been a lot of talk about what we're going to do with that 4th overall pick. A lot of projections have Travis Hunter going 4th. A lot of projections have the Patriots trading that pick away. I don't know what I want the Patriots to do. Winning would be nice. I don't know what move would be good. I think, obviously, you take the best available talent, but the Pats really need an offensive line. And so if we have to go get a really good offensive lineman, I'd probably prefer that than going for Travis Hunter, even though I'd really love to have Travis Hunter. I think he's really exciting to watch. He'd bring a lot of viewership, I think, to the Patriots in general. Maybe some people will start believing in New England football again, bring in some free agents, but I have no idea what they're going to do, in all honesty. But we still got some time to kind of figure that out. We'll see what kind of moves they make within the next couple of weeks. That will kind of give us a better idea of that.
Yeah, anything else?
I ain't got much else. I mean, Celtics are rolling. I can't be upset. There's not much at this point. It's death by analytics. Like, we're just overanalyzing everything when it comes to the NBA, just because we're waiting for playoffs to come around. It'll be fun to watch these next kind of 2 weeks. That's kind of what we have left, 14 games. Kind of see where everything when the dust settles, where everybody lands. Obviously, we'll have our first round bye. I don't see us losing this 2 seed anyway. I'm not really. I don't expect us to run into too many bumps in the road until we get to the Eastern Conference Final. I really do genuinely think it's going to be Cavs and Celtics there, and it's going to be a close series. I wouldn't be surprised if we go 7 games. But the Celtics did surprise me last year in the playoffs, where they basically 4-0 or 4-1 to everybody. And I was not expecting that. But I'm kind of a doomer when it comes to my teams in the playoffs. I expect the worst and get pleasantly surprised when they do the exact opposite. So it'll be fun, but a fully healthy Celtics team. If Porzingis can finally play the playoffs healthy, Holiday's there. Tatum's dealing with some knee stuff, which somewhat concerns me, but I think come playoff time he'll be fine. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, man. So going in reverse order. I had something I wanted to say, but I'll just say it now just to save my peace. Look, I'm changing my MVP. SGA is MVP. Look, I saw something the other day. He has a lower free throw rate than 3 of Jordan's MVPs. Malone's MVP, AI's MVP, Dirk's MVP, Bean's MVP, all of LeBron's MVPs, KD's, Westbrook's, Harden's, Giannis, and Embiid's. Yo, I sat there and I was like, nah, because the odds are deceiving me. The crunching analytics has confused me from what I've seen. And I was just watching like TikToks of old Bean, like 24 Bean. And I'm like, that's SGA. I'm not saying SGA is Kobe Bryant, okay? But how SGA plays, it's like, yo, like, he's got a love for the game. He hit a hoop, he hit a ball, he deserves his flowers. He deserves his MVP way more than Embiid did his. And I'm sorry, Jokic. I wouldn't be surprised if Jokic won. He deserves it. I think that if there was ever a time for 2 MVPs to ever come back, it would be this season. So, if there was money I could put, can't bet in California. If there was money I could put, I will vote for a 2 MVP this season and just let them boys both have it. I don't think Embiid should have won. I think that should have been Jokic's MVP. But every time Jokic has not won MVP, which is the Embiid, he's won the World Series. So you know what? Maybe he should just. I mean, no, not the World Series, the NBA championship. So maybe he should have the MVP, so he doesn't win the NBA championship. In saying that, the West is so fun to watch on TNT, on ESPN, on ABC. It is so fun to watch. I remember when I was a kid watching Curry drop 54 on the Knicks. I remember watching Curry do a step back on Dallas in my living room TV, and it was amazing. And watching the next team play, and the next team play, and I love that competitive nature where you just don't know who's gonna win. Those games, Clippers, Warriors, and the Christmas games back in the day, you didn't know who was gonna win. I love the fact that there is not a dynasty type team in the West. Everyone is there to win, and everyone has a chance depending on who they match up with. Take bias aside, take if you're a fan away, and everyone has a chance. OKC has a clear exceptional favorite because they haven't, they show numbers wise, but the eye test shows everyone has a chance. In the East, not so much. And I don't think the East will be very fun to watch in the playoffs. I think it's going to be a lot of belts ass. I just don't think it's going to be fun to watch. Speaking of belt to ass, I am expecting the New York Yankees to come out hot, rolling, running hard. I expect a couple of teams to do that, and I expect the Yankees to be out in front early, hitting it. What I've seen in spring, I haven't seen in a very long time, and them boys are putting the bat on the ball. It's crazy how much they're scoring. I'm so impressed by how much they're scoring, and ironically, now that they're scoring, they can't keep a bullpen together. So hopefully Loaisiga comes back decent. Shout out Lasagna. Garrett Cole will be now a pitching coach, which is good because it gives opportunities for young guys to flex their steel, right? Baseball's 8 days away. That's a beautiful thing, and I work days now, so I get to watch a lot of 10 a.m. Yankees games. That is awesome. Me and Michael K will have a lot of dialogue that he won't hear anything I say, and I hear everything he says, and that's okay. I'm not necessarily convinced that the Eagles will be able to once again strike gold in terms of the draft because there's not a lot of players that are in trouble with risk like has been. And looking at the history before, that was some really bad drafts in a row because we should have DK and Justin Jefferson on top of all the talent that we have. So don't say, people say the Eagles draft this amazing X, Y, and Z for all these years. No, it's just recently. And an owner has spent a lot of money up front to protect these boys until 2028. So definitely headed right back down the gutter when it's all said and done. And then speaking of gutter, the Houston Texans have got to make some moves, man. I don't understand what they're doing. Addition by subtraction, great, but there needs to be some addition elsewhere as well. I want to check the scores before I get out of here, and then I'm out of here. Also, there's been a debate going around for third option. Who's the best third option in NBA? And you can't fool me twice that Austin Reeves is the best one in NBA. I'm sorry, it's just not that. I watched a little college baseball, and Texas just lost a really close game, interestingly enough, so they should drop in the rankings. Right now, the Thunder are up 30 on OKC. On the 76ers. The Spurs are beating the Knicks. Pistons and Heat are 1 point game with 3:40 left in the fourth. Pelicans Timberwolves are a 2-point game with 2 minutes left in the third. And then the Wizards and Jazz are in a toilet bowl. So the Pacers beat the Mavs. So if the Suns do win tonight, they should jump and become play-in. And I feel for some reason that if the Suns just get a little feel of the play-in, they're going to do something. Reminder, who their head coach is. Mike Budenholzer. He was the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. And he could have been fired until they somehow, some way snuck their way into the finals. Please let that be a reminder that I called it first. If the Suns figure out a way to somehow, some way gel as players and make a run, jobs are saved, careers are saved, and everything's swept under the rug. Everything matters so much in the regular season until all of a sudden it doesn't matter anymore, and that's when postseason begins, and that's in every sport. I said this year was going to be my year of getting started watching hockey, and my local team is the San Jose Sharks. Negative. So maybe look, I'm a Dallas Stars fan. That's how I was raised into. But maybe next time, maybe next season, I could jump in. I'll probably watch a lot of the the NHL playoffs. But for right now, we'll try again next year, starting brand new. And saying that, it was a great episode. I appreciate you for being here. I got Duke, Florida, Auburn, Houston. Yes, Houston beating Tennessee. Yes, all number ones. Yes, the only time that happened was 2008. Yes, I don't care. Duke will get upset if Cooper Flag is not playing in the Sweet 16 at least. Yeah. I think Temple has an upset. I think Oregon goes home early. I think Wisconsin does a little something too. In the women's, USC should not have been the last number one. Whatever. We're going to see another greatness of Paige versus Juju. Then Paige goes number one because she's getting sent home. I think Texas got lucky, and so did UCLA. I don't think either of them franchises are good. And Hannah Hidalgo will raise her stock so much, people will think of her as up and coming. For Wiley and the Gamecocks, they're a great organization, but I don't think they're going to win this year. If I had to put my money on a team, I'd probably say Notre Dame. I like the way they're structured. I like USC, but they depend way too much on Juju up front, or maybe she just doesn't let the ball go enough. She's like a Paul George, and it's a really nice player, really fun player, but does that mean winning championships? No. So just because she's the best player in women's college basketball doesn't mean necessarily that USC is the best team. That's been proven time and time again. If UConn can beat USC, which they will wind up playing against each other, they're gonna win everything. And I think that goes to the men's as well. Like, Florida has size and they can shoot. Duke has really good on offense, defense, moving the ball, fluidity, but inconsistency. And Cooper Flag, will he show up? Will he be okay? But yeah, that's all I got. Thank you all for joining today's episode. Hopefully we'll have one on Friday maybe, or sometime this weekend. And we are holding auditions and everything for possible guests and other members. And again, thank you, Solomon, for joining the episode. Shout out Cam Pickups. Shout out Cam. And we'll talk to you later. Solomon, any last words?
I got nothing else. Pleasure, as always.
All right, brother.